Hello, hello, hello. Hey, Trace. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Tired.
Yeah.
It's been a week.
And it's Monday.
And it's Monday. Hopefully, Joe will be here soon. She's having some technical things.
Mhm.
I'm Liz, and this is Therese, and you probably know that by now. So, welcome back. If it's your first time, welcome. We sit and talk knitting, crocheting, yarn, and whatever else us that we aren't our friends figure out that's a good topic or maybe not a good topic, and we talk about it anyway. It's how
It's
it
life.
happens. Mhm.
It's life in 2024. There's no telling what can happen.
So what have you been up to?
What have I been up to? I have no finished objects this week because I overdid it last week. I have 2 actives and a cross stitch that I didn't bring because I'm not talking about it. I am working on it, Neil James. I am working on it. So,
Oh, were you test stitching for him?
oh no, this is a super secret, excellent project. But it's cross stitch, so it takes a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm working on. Oh, is she here?
No.
Okay.
Chat here.
So I'm working on
Joyce and everyone else who's watching. We appreciate it.
Hi, everybody. I'm working
So what you
on
working?
a t-shirt, crocheted t-shirt. Okay, here's the first panel.
Ooh,
It's a big granny square,
nice.
and then you do 2 of them, and you sew them together, and you do arm, cap, sleeve, whatever. So I'm working on the second one. This is in cotton for summer. I had a little issue with the pattern. So there's all these free patterns online that are on people's blogs, which is great. Except they have all these pop-up ads, all these pop-up videos, and it's nigh on impossible to be on that, and you can copy and paste whatever. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to buy the pattern so I don't have to go through all that. So I go on Etsy, and the pattern's on sale, which is cool. So I'm like, okay, I'll get it. So I open it up, and it says, this pattern is good for a medium to a large, and you can adjust it from there.
Oh.
Then she goes on to tell how to do a granny square, which I already know how to do. I need to know, how much yarn do I need? What sizes are there? Is this schematic? So all it told was granny square, and then, sew it together. So I had to end up going online to a pattern anyway to figure out all the details. So I left kind of a neutral review on Etsy just to kind of warn people that, hey, this pattern has 0 information except for a very, very limited amount, which that's fine if it's free, but if you're paying for it, I would like a little more stuff. Yeah. So, I mean, I wasn't mean. I was just like, she did a really good job on the granny square part, but I would have liked to have more information about sizing and,
Not only that, if you're not going to provide it in the paid one, you should at least say so.
Well, that's the thing. I didn't know until I bought it.
That's
that
what I
it
mean.
was like that. Yeah.
There's just something in the description that says it's only for certain things, so that it's kind of false advertising if you don't know that it's limited sizes. Because we've all bought patterns where we thought it was the right size, and it turns out, it's not in that size after all. Because it was marked wrong or.
Yeah. So that was a little frustrating, but whatever. And then the only other thing I'm working on actively is I have a project. I talked about that knitted t-shirt. I've cast it on 4 times. I've ripped it out 4 times. I can't get the numbers right, which is kind of dumb because, I mean, it's not the first time around that I've done anything. But for some reason, every time it's the wrong numbers. And I look for errata. It's me. But it's also one of those patterns you have to pay attention to and count and count and count. It's lace. Mm-hmm. And, dogs and husbands and whatever.
Life.
I'll start it again. The only other thing I'm working on is my Orioles blanket. It's a temperature blanket, but not the temperature. So
The
here's
score
a
blank.
portion of it. Here's a
Wins and
portion of it.
losses.
Wins
Cool.
and losses. And you can't see the colors. It's Orioles colors.
Now,
So
are you doing
What's that?
single or double crochet?
This is single crochet, which it's very dense. It's dense. But if you do it in double crochet, I mean, there's 162 games plus postseason, God willing. So that thing will be 12 feet long.
There she is. Yeah, no. And I like a single crochet Afghan, especially you live where it's cold in winter.
Yeah. And
So-
it's nice. It feels soft. It's soft, you know, so here we have all the whites and oranges are wins and all the grays and blacks are losses. So, you know. I
There's
got to
this
add one for last night. What you
Hello,
munching on
hello.
there, girly?
Really not breakfast food. Potato scallop. One greasy potato scallop. This is what you get at the fish and chip shop, usually. But we don't have a fish and chip shop, so I just got it from the local gas station. So it tastes like grease, and it tastes like it's been there for a while. But I was hungry. I got a Kransky sausage too. Hello, everybody.
Hey, Joe Bob.
Happy knit night.
Knit night. Knit
I
morning.
have no finished objects. I've been working on
No.
that stock arm sweater in my Tina colorway from Atlantic Yarn and Fiber,
Nice.
which I miss her so much.
I know.
And then I'm working on something else, but I'm not going to show it till it's farther along. So yeah, it's not. There's not enough to show. It's only like 5 rows. So
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I have my ugly cat shawl, but it's in timeout. So
Annie's almost done with hers.
I know.
It looks so good. Oh,
I messed something up, and now I have to figure out where, because my stitches are messed up, so I have to figure out something on it. So it's in timeout. Annie's looks lovely.
It does.
Looks great. It's pretty stunning.
I was happy to see that her cat Millie seems to be well on the mend.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good.
Yeah.
She even acknowledged that Joe Bob the murder knits is boring.
It's boring.
I didn't hear her say she thinks it's boring. I heard her say, I think it's boring, and well, mumble, and then that was the end of that. And I'm like, giving you all the love, Annie. You can do it, or you can frog it. There
She's
you go.
kinda- Yeah, she's fence sitting. She don't
I
want to.
think she's very
She want to
diplomatic.
get in trouble.
Doesn't want to, you know.
Yeah, she's not blunt and tactless like me. She's
it's
very
not being
sweet.
tactless. Joe Tabitha has known how you feel about that for the longest time, so it's not tactless when you call her out for it because she knows.
She knows.
It was only a cow thing that it got a little crazy when you didn't like her cow.
I made it. I made it to right to the end, and then I frogged it. What can I say?
What are you
Okay.
working on?
Well, speaking of timeouts, I've got a confession to make, and I'm a little bit uncomfortable about it. So let's just get it out there on the table, right? You know when your friends ask you, can you make something for them? And you go, yeah. And you start it and you tell them how your progress is going.
Mm-hmm.
And then you avoid seeing them for a little bit because you put it in timeout. And now they're not even speaking to you and don't acknowledge you and don't wave to you when you wave to them as you're driving by. You know that. I don't know if you know that extreme. Maybe it's an Australian thing. I don't know.
Is this a hypothetical or?
I'm just asking for a friend.
Hypothetically, are they ignoring you because of this project or for other reasons?
You know, when you just say, oh, this yarn's on sale across the road, and it's a knitter, and they say, oh, go and get me a couple of balls then. And I went and got them a couple of balls, and they took them home, and then they hung on to them for a couple of months. And then we had a conversation. I said, oh, what are you making with those balls? I mean, it's such beautiful wool. Oh, I don't know. Would you make me something? Sure, I'll make you something. Yeah, I'll make you something. What do you want? A shawl. Sure, I'll make you a shawl. Let's have a look at some patterns online. I'll show you the big R, and you can choose some. She chose something. She sort of floundered, and she chose something that was very open and really
Is this the black
moly. No. And I suggested something else which was more intricate and had a really beautiful all over pattern that I'm going to have to focus on. And I took it home last winter. I'm sure it was only about 10 months ago. And I took it home about 10 months ago, and I steamed through it, and I got through almost through the first skein. And so I remember telling you girls something had eaten it, and I don't know if it had eaten it at the wool shop or at her home, but I keep my stuff in tubs. So I had a couple of breakages in it, and I powered on. I actually finished to the pattern, and I decided it was too small because this lady is short, but she's more broad than I am around the body bits. So I saw her at the end of winter, probably August last year. We're coming into spring, and I said, oh, I've nearly finished your shawl. And then she hasn't spoken to me since. So, and because she's older, you know what? These thoughts in my head, I'm being brutally honest. I keep thinking, don't die before I give it to you, lady, because I don't want you to go to heaven or hell, wherever you're going to, and then cast dispersions upon me that I never made you this shawl.
This is going to haunt you.
Well,
it's going to haunt me.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
She didn't pay you to make it, right?
I don't know. I'm not taking any
then
payment.
It's on your time frame. So
it wasn't going to make it for last winter. I was given the wool in the middle of last winter. So it wasn't going to be made last winter, not with this pattern. Well, finally I finished it. So here I am. I feel weird bragging about that fact, and I cannot wait. I've got it in a bag here in my mobile office because this person is not talking to me, hasn't called me, and I want to be almost the bigger person and just hand it to her. I don't want to call her. I don't want to speak to her. But here you go. Spring Street shawl.
I remember that.
Ooh.
Pretty.
Right. And I have done extra. I have made it larger than the pattern calls for because
Joe.
I want it to be something that she will wear. So this giant shawl that I have made with 2 skeins, it's supposed to be about 500 and something meters. Well, 1 skein of this is 450 meters, and I have almost finished 2 skeins.
Mm.
So I have gone above and beyond, and here it is. It's a beautiful all-over leaf design.
Mm-hmm.
It's gorgeous.
It's lovely.
Yeah, but, you know, this I started last winter, and you would have seen it if you were watching us. You would have seen this last winter. All the ends are woven in.
What's the name of the pattern?
Spring Street.
Spring Street.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Spring Street. And I just think it's a beautiful design for anybody, but particularly for an older lady who just wears her, you know, multicolored cardigans and a skirt or a dress in winter. And I know she doesn't like the cold. I know she's like me, sleeps in every piece of clothing she can find at night. I mean, we often used to joke that, you know, if we got robbed, the robber would see us and flee because we're all in our beanies and neck warmers and 15 layers and bed socks upon bed socks. So that's one of my finished objects. And I just really, I don't know, I got a bee in my bonnet and I thought, yeah, don't wave to me next time I smile and wave at you. You know, swallow it. You can chew on this for.
Here's the thing. The longer you hold on to it, every time you see it, it's going to bother you.
Mm-hmm.
It bothered me that I had it in timeout, but I also wasn't ready to sit and do that pattern repeat another time because I'd already done the
I
pattern.
would sit to her and say, look, I could have made it smaller and had it to you a while ago.
Oh, I don't think we're having any kind of conversation, Liz. I mean, I've got to the point where I'm like, hello, this is the person that, you know, I used to joke, must have had a tracking device on my vehicle, remember?
I remember because she asked
Yeah.
me to do this all the time.
Where are you? Are you in town? Can you stop in? So I did a lot of volunteer work for her, with her, and used to go in every week. And then every time I was in town, if she saw my car, she was on to me and she'd come looking for me in the park. But because I didn't manage to finish this shawl last winter, she has stopped speaking to me.
Are you sure that's
Wow.
Are you
Oh,
sure
yeah.
it's the shawl?
Hey,
Oh.
That's why?
the older we get, the snarkier we get. And this is just her upset because she probably thinks I wasn't working on it or I've let her down. And that's okay. I haven't let her down. Here's her beautiful shawl made with love and good wishes, with every single stitch. So I'm going to hopefully find her over the next couple of days and give her gift from me with love. And
Then she'll have to think of you every time she looks at it.
I don't mean it in a nasty way at all.
No, I get it though. Come on.
I just feel like it is a conundrum when you tell somebody you will make something for them and you don't follow through straight away. People get very, very upset. Well, it wasn't winter anymore. It was summer when I had those hiccups with the broken yarn. And I could have easily just cast it off last August when it got to that size. But I just wanted it to be perfect. I wanted it to fit her well and for people to admire it. So I hung on to it over summer. She's not going to wear it in 40 degrees. But now I'm thinking, you know, if she drops dead before I get it to her, then I'm going to feel terrible. So it's in my car waiting to see her, or waiting to see somebody who knows her. And then I finished this Musselburgh.
Nice.
Ooh, nice.
So this is hand-dyed New South Wales merino sock wool. So I bought this, I think, on one of my little trips to Lura. I don't know who the lady is who hand dyes it, but that's her ticket, her label, and it's just all the same colour. So it's the whole skein minus a nugget. Look, Amy, I know Amy. Amy's been so unwell. Hi, Amy. I hope you're feeling better. There you go. I didn't realise it's stripes.
I think she's better today.
She's feeling better
Yeah,
now.
she's better.
I think so.
Gosh, what she's been through. I didn't realise until last week when I saw something pop up on my feed what happened in her hometown. I had no idea. So I've been out of the loop. And then she's been so unwell. So I wanted to show Amy that. I have made a decision though. I'm not a fan now. I don't want to do these in, sorry guys, the sun's coming in, so it's a bit of a shocker. I've decided Musselburgh hat for me shouldn't be done in wool nylon. It's too soft. It's way too soft, and I don't know if you think that's a funny thing. Here's my next one, and this is why I started with this. This is Fibre Lily. It's beautiful. So it's a magenta, pale, sort of purple with flecks of pink, brown, blue, everything. Hot pink, brown and blue. And I decided I was going to pair it with a variegated in similar colours. And then I decided, no, I'm going to do brown for the other side, this rusty brown. Oh, that's lovely. Yes, Knit Diva. Look, that's what I keep thinking. My story is that I really, when people ask me, can I knit them something, I really want to say no. I really want to say, hey, in the next month, if I cast something on, you'll be the first to see it. If you like it, you're welcome to it. But I don't particularly want to sit with the task of making a sweater for somebody or making a shawl for somebody. And the reason why I say that is because things like that happen and I feel really awful. That is the first time I've ever let anything sit like that for 12 whole months. I feel like I'm doing a lot of talking. I decided to go to the markets with my husband. My husband makes rusty metal sculptures. He actually makes it out of new steel, and then he chemically treats it and rusts it. So I don't know why. And also now he's like foraging and scavenging for rusty bits and pieces and making things like rusty guitars, electric guitars and things like that. But he goes to markets often on the weekends, but I don't go. I have not been to the markets with my knitting for 2 years this month.
Wow.
I had a look on my
Oh,
little
wow.
square. I set up my little square. It was all out of date and had to be updated. And he just said to me, come on, it's just down the road. It's only like a 3-hour market, 3-4 hour market, just a short one. And it's starting to get cold here. And he said, bring your gear down and come down. And so I did. And I did really well. So
Good.
I was happy. Not as good as, what I did a couple of years ago, but that was because I was there every month. This
Well,
is a different month.
you also knit all year for that one a couple of years ago.
Yeah, well, yeah. So years and years ago, when the kids were little, I was the president of the local artisan markets, and so for 3 years solid, I knit every week, and I did commissions, and I did have people coming to my table saying, "Can you make me this in alpaca? Can you make me this in brown?" And I would do it, and they'd be knowing that I'm there every month, and then they wouldn't turn up again, and that drove me crazy. Or I knit something in a blue, and the lady would turn up and decide that it wasn't quite the right blue. So I got to the point where I was saying to people, look, if you want me to make you something, you go to the wool store. This is how many balls, and I would write a note how many balls of wool they would need and what kind, and they would go and they would then be horrified that they were paying more for their wool than what I was charging on my table, because all I do is charge for my wool. I don't put profit on top of my knits. If I do, it might be $5 to round something up, or $10, and that's it. So I just went with him to have a few hours with him, and I did really well. And I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't done this for 2 years. And already somebody said, oh, could you make this? And I just said, look, I'm knitting what I'm knitting. If you want to see what I'm knitting, come back next month. Turn up next month. Yeah. So I do try. I do listen to what they ask for, if they want certain colours. And it was interesting because a lot of larger ladies wanted larger shawls. And I'm like, God, you know how much I love a big shawl. And I had quite good sized shawls for very cheap, sometimes less than what the wool cost me, just because I thought this is my first market back. I'll give it a go, get some interest. And no, they wanted schlanket size shawls.
They wanted ugly cat shawl.
And I'm thinking, well, you have to be prepared to pay for that kind of wool. That's a lot of wool. When you're going over 5-6 skeins, you're getting up to 700, 800 grams. You might as well be knitting a jumper, a sweater. That's a lot of wool for me to knit, for people to decide they can't afford that kind of thing. Yeah, so it's been a little bit interesting. I'm glad I finished that. Yeah, so Diva, that's right. She should. I would hope that she would be thankful and realise my intentions behind it. It's finished. It's done. It's beautiful. I wasn't going to make this little piddly thing that wouldn't go over her shoulders. I wanted to make a good size shawl that easily wraps over her shoulders, and she can throw a brooch or a pin in it and wear it. But then again, she might, to spite me, never wear it. Who knows? Might give it to somebody else and say she knit it. We've had that happen before. Remember when the kids were little, and a lady asked me, could I knit her adult sons 3 woolen cabled Aran jumpers, sweaters, and one had to be lightweight, so I did one in fingering wool. And I did, and they were over 1 kilo, over 1,000 meters each. And she told them that she made them.
Oh.
That's nice. Yes. So what I'm working on is just this. I'm just working on this beautiful colour. I enjoyed that. I just had a nugget left, so half a skein left, and then I've added the brown to it. Look, Amy, I've added this brown to it, and then I've decided I really don't want to do them in the beautiful soft wool. I don't think it does them justice in that super soft. This is still my favourite. And the reason is it's just that it's soft, but it's just got that tiny little bit of, I don't know, tackiness to it. Like it just the stitches, it's not going to slip off my head, whereas I feel these do, and you're always pulling them back
structure.
down. Yeah, just, I don't know. I have to, and I went back to have a look through my stash. And the other American wool that I bought from Dyer's Cast to make my Vertices Unite, that's the same sort of feel to it. It's just got a little tiniest tackiness where the wool hangs onto each other. And same with Mountain Craft. Super soft yarn, but it has that high twist. And it really just has that tackiness where the stitches cling to each other a little bit nicer. And I like a little bit more structure for the hat. So this is still my favourite. It doesn't matter how many of these I make now. This one's my favourite. And it's the yarn and the beautiful colours. I think that's it for me. Just working on another Musselburgh. I did work on something for Blocked Magazine. So you will see that at the end of this month, next month. Yeah, I did work on a secret little sneaky that I was blocking at the motel the other week. I think that's...
Speaking of blocked, I wonder if we're going to get our titles, Therese.
Oh, I am. I've already decided my title. So good luck, girls.
We might have to go on strike.
Associates of Joe Bob. I'm thinking about future projects, and I spent hours
Keep it to yourself, my friend.
I know, right? Oh, tell you what.
Oh shit.
I'm not in a hurry to go to the local yarn store and buy more Jameson and Smith for that vest. I do want to do it. I am going to do it. And then, you know what I was looking at? I was looking at is it called the Fantastitch? Is it the Fantastitch or Slip Stitch Fantastic blanket or something? That big circular blanket?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking at that one, Stephen West blanket, last night, thinking that could be penguino wool used in that. You know, like that would be. Yeah, not going to do it. So I looked at that and thought, don't be ridiculous.
I'm not going to knit a blanket.
It's getting cold here, though. It's getting cold here, so I can't be just fluffing around making Musselburgh hats. That I'm not. Yeah, I've decided the Ching fibre one I'm not going to hang on to. Maybe not. This one I'm definitely not going to hang on to.
Fantastitch.
Oh, what's it called?
Fantastitch.
Oh.
Or Fantastitch Station, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Sherry, are you talking about these Musselburgh hats? They're so, like, I think, you know, you could be one of these hip, cool grannies and wear them like a big slouchy too, which I don't like the cold. Here, I'll show you this one, Sherry. See, like, there's nothing. It's absolutely lovely hat. It's super soft, and it's got heaps of room for all different size heads. Sorry, my silly bob's a bit weird today. The wig's a bit weird, but yeah, and it's super soft. But it just, the other one feels better. So you can do it in the sock yarn. I mean, Sherry, you can do one of these. Gosh, look, it just feels like it goes forever. But it's a great little hat, and it'll fit everybody and anybody. Oh, what I would like to try is that fits the whole fam hat. I haven't done that yet.
Amy's made a bunch of them.
Yeah, and that's using multiple strands, and that's a really stretchy. It's obviously a ribbed hat. So Jack has been home from work sick, and now I think he's passed it on to me. Excuse me. So yeah, lovely hat. I mean, and I didn't know it was stripy yarn, so that was a bonus.
Yeah,
I didn't know it was skein.
Maybe it was stripy yarn for you, but it's the way you knit.
Yeah, I mean, it could be completely different for somebody else's gauge or needle size, probably pools. It's a great hat. I recommend it if you've got the patience, or if you're happy enough to know that you're going to just pop it in the car or in your purse and pick it up whenever. It's not something you want to finish in 2 days. You just sort of pick it up and plod along, and all of a sudden it's growing and you're halfway there. I mean, that's halfway. When did I start this? Last week? Did I even start this? No, I was on the other one last week, wasn't I?
I think you did just started past this one off.
I might have just started the crown. That's right. So I may have just started the crown. So a week's worth of knitting there. I didn't, it's not something that you do in a hurry. So yeah, I'm looking at my stash, and then I'm thinking, don't look at the stash. I've got whatever wool I need for whatever it's going to be. I'm not sure. I do really want to make an emotional support chicken for Charlie for uni, which I haven't started yet. Did you see that Summer Lee did a free sock design for the leap year?
I saw that.
Yeah. So if anyone's looking for a free sock pattern on the old Rav, and does she have a website? I imagine she does now that she's got her book out about socks.
Probably. I don't know.
So if you're interested in socks and you're looking for something fresh and new, Summer Lee Design Co. She just released a book a couple of months ago, and she does a podcast which is really fun, I think. She talks to you. She comes and she has a chat with you and asks questions and answers questions and puts you through her design process. And you know what I love? She frogs you. If it's not working, if the colours aren't talking to her, she will frog it. And she shows you that a pair of socks can take a couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Joe Bob, question about your hat.
So was the red one in DK weight? No, the red one is in fingering weight. This one's fingering weight.
That's Chicken Lady, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is still, the last time I looked on Lynn's website, this is still on there, Cardinal. This is a really, really nice yarn. I want a sweater's quantity. Look how it turned out. Now, it didn't turn out like that the first time I started this hat, Sherry. I did different needle size, and I kind of felt like it was going to be too big, so I frogged it and went down a needle size. I had all sorts of pooling. I had red on one side and black and gold on the other side. So when I went down a needle size, I got this. So sometimes it's worth doing it. I was going to say a couple of inches. Well, that's also called a gauge swatch.
A what? No, we don't do those.
You may not have heard of that term. It's a bit of a foreign term, gauge swatch. But I think, you would have to be doing it in the round, and look, it's just a hat. Do a couple of inches. If you don't like it, frog it back and change needle sizes. Yeah. So no, I saw this is still on her website, losing my voice in excitement. I believe, sorry if I'm wrong, but I believe this is still on her website. It's great. It's my favourite. And I've knit a few since this, and it's still my favourite.
I think Sean was doing a similar one in ribbing, but knitting it like a month.
Doing the 1x1 rib?
Yeah, I think so.
That would be cool. That would be really cool.
I would never do
I
that.
wonder if she wouldn't have taken it up into the crown, did she? I have to have a look.
I don't know.
You could logistically, you could take the ribbing up from the crown. Actually, while I was knitting, I was thinking, the dress that you showed me last week, and it had it goes out to the sleeves and then it goes down. It's the same as just doing this sort of increase out to the sleeves and then down in the body. I mean, it's just a universal shape, this crown. You could do it on anything. I was looking at socks. I'm looking at these leap year socks, and I think they're kind of cool by Summer Lee, and it's a free pattern. I think she's really sweet. I saw that she's got braces now, and listening to her try to speak without a lisp, she's really a sweet lady. So I enjoy watching her podcast, except, you know what? I watch her cross her legs. She can sit there cross-legged, and I think, oh, gosh, I haven't done that since I was 7.
I wouldn't be able to walk after that.
I wouldn't be able to either.
She has the most gorgeous, longest, slimmest legs in the world that go right up to her armpits, and I'm just jealous of her. Oh, but she's such a lovely lady. She's fun to listen to. So that's, I like her that when that appears in my notifications, I do watch her podcasts and look at all her sock adventures. So I'm thinking about socks. I don't know.
Whatever
never made
happened to
you a
your
Bay City
knee-length
roller.
socks?
Sorry.
Your knee-length socks. Whatever happened to those?
Oh, yeah. No, they're at home. My knee-length socks. I nearly put them on the other night. Yeah, my knee-length socks are there for when the frost sets in. I'll be wearing them. I was thinking I've never knit those little, are they called Bay City roller socks?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've never knit those. I would like to have a go
Yeah.
at those. Just some little shorty socks.
Mm-hmm.
But I did print out this pattern because I thought that was so cute. Look,
Mm-hmm.
Amy.
Yeah, that is.
They're cute.
Does Amy make socks? I don't think I remember Amy ever making socks.
Yeah, she makes socks occasionally.
She does. Mhm.
She does. There you go, Amy. Print that one off.
I've got so many socks on the needles. I need to finish them.
Oh, you do?
Hey,
You
Joe.
beautiful socks.
Joe.
Yes.
Joe, can you pop out and pop back?
There's that
Oh, sure.
echo.
Oh,
We're getting
sorry.
a feedback. Sorry. One of these days we're gonna have to put her in a studio,
I know.
and then she won't have.
She needs to come
Technically.
here, and then everything will be fine.
I know. Maybe when Neil comes to America, Joe can come at the same time,
Oh Lord!
and it'll be total chaos in a
Just
good
bring
way.
Pirate too. Why not? I mean,
Well, yeah, but he's only going to come if it's during football season, probably.
then we'll be at
Can you
war.
imagine?
No.
Can you imagine if they did? If Kansas City was playing Philadelphia with Joe and Tomsky in the same room?
Oh, I can sit back and watch that fight.
Yeah, our foreign friends are very vocal about their football teams.
They love American football. It's so funny.
They do. Well, Neil
Rose
doesn't.
City Rollers, yes, Rose City Rollers.
Yeah.
They're
Bay
just little
City
shorty
Rollers was a band, right?
Yeah. And here she said Bay City Rollers.
I'm like, yeah.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, it sounded right to me too. We're old, Therese, face it.
We're old. Yeah, that's Gen X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was watching this YouTube thing, and it's some channel where guys point out where feminists and taking advantage of men and stuff. And it was a clip from some podcast or something. I don't even know who the people were. And the one was going, oh, the patriarchy. It's all the patriarchy's fault because they say men age like fine wine, and women age like prunes. And it turned over to whoever she was with, and it was this young black man, and he's like, no, I don't think so. He says, men don't say that each other age like fine wine. Women do. He said, women like the qualities in older men, so that's how they age like fine wine. That's when they have the better qualities. He said, like the last 8 years of People magazine was the sexiest men alive were all in their 40s or above. So he totally shot her down.
Good.
That it was the men who said that, and he's like, no, I think that's
Men
something
don't
ladies
talk
say.
like that. They don't.
They said men don't go, hey bro, you're aging like rosé.
I hope not.
That's something women do, and it's true.
Yeah.
A lot of the stereotypes that women claim that are because of men, I think, are because of women.
Yes, absolutely.
Have you ever knit with this?
No. What is it?
This is it's like clouds. This is Plissade is the brand. So it's made in France, maybe created in France, made in Belgium. This is Plissade, and I think it's pronounced Algosoy, Algosoy, Algasoie. This is 70% alpaca and 30% silk.
Oh, be still my
Algosoie?
heart.
Algosoie, Algosoie,
Something like that.
Algosoie. So this is, instead of mohair silk, this is alpaca silk. Those lace projects.
Oh,
I love alpaca.
me too. It's my favorite.
So I'm going to make something in this. And this one's just a multicolored one. But the strands are, if I can find, look, it's like, it's stuck to each other. Hang on.
Ooh.
I've twisted it. It
That
is.
looks soft.
I think it's a really good alternative to the mohair silk. It's super soft. Look at that tiny little.
Oh,
Wow.
love
So
alpaca.
if you're using Rowan, silk mohair or hand dyed silk mohair, I would recommend to look it up. So it has all the same fluffy features as the mohair silk, but it's softer with alpaca silk.
Mhm.
How expensive is it?
30% silk. It just feels like nothing. So, and I think it's the same quantities. A 25 gram ball gives you 210 meters, or it's 0.88 ounce equals 229 yards. Look at the colors in that, Amy. They're really nice fall colors, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
The green and the rusty mustard baby shit brown and the burgundy red. So if you're looking for, if you can't hack that, when you're teaming it up with another strand, a lot of people are doing the mohair and the fingering together.
Mhm.
I would definitely look into alpaca and silk because it's not, this is cheaper actually for me.
Yeah.
So wherever I got it from, it's actually cheaper than the mohair silk that I can buy at the same place. And it's lighter.
Is it a
It weighs
commercial or is it hand dyed?
I don't believe it's hand dyed because it's got a color. It's got a
Look,
dye
it's
lot
commercial.
number.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I think
That's
this
pretty.
is manufactured. Sorry.
Oh nice.
Yeah, no, this is a dye lot, a colorway or a dye lot. So I don't know how large this company is. Made in Belgium, created in France. Plassard.com. I would have to look them up. Plassard. I wonder if you would have stockists there who would have this.
Maybe.
I just think it's such a nice alternative to the people. Some people can't handle that mohair.
I wonder if
when
Little
I made
Knits would have that.
possibly.
Little Knits has all the different.
Plassard. I would definitely buy this again. So I might actually look it up this afternoon and see where the stockists are, because you can get it in the bold, in the solid colours. But I just thought this was such a pretty fall-looking colour. Perfect.
What are you going to hold it with? What color?
Yeah.
I'm going to knit it on its own
Oh,
with another yarn, but on its own, not doubled up. I'm doing some lace knitting.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What are you gonna knit?
A shawl.
oh.
Which
I'm
one?
going to team it up with this.
Ooh,
How's that?
Ooh.
How is that for good color matching? Similar, but not 100%.
Close enough though that
Oh yeah.
What pattern?
Oh,
I'm not telling. Maybe something for Box Magazine.
oh.
Ooh.
Not my own design. You know I'm not a designer, right? And then when I do design shit, I don't write it down. No. No. I might review a pattern using this just for my own fun, because I need to keep it interesting, folks.
I think you should make a sweater out of your fish pattern from last year's Shark Week.
Oh, the Escher fish.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that. I was actually, You think a whole sweater?
Cute. Or
would
just
not
the
drive
yoke,
me back?
maybe.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't
just
think
the yoke.
about it, though.
Yeah,
You'd
just
have
do
to
it.
increase stitches. I can make little fish into big fat fish.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be cute. A whole pool of fish. A whole school of fish. Yeah. A whole school in the pool. Yeah, I could do that, but I would not knit that on superwash wool again. I would, because when I washed that hat, it just fell apart. It just got too big, too loose. I would have to do it on woolly wool.
Well, go in the shed in your tubs and look
I've got to go
around.
into my wool room. No possum tails this week. Oh, speaking of cats, bloody hell.
Where are we?
How could I forget to tell you? You know those little toys you get and they have big glass eyes and their eyes are too big for their heads? That's Cheddar. Cheddar has arrived. Cheddar the ginger ninja. Actually, you know what? I have not even checked if Cheddar is a male or a female. I just got told she was a she, and I'm a woman, so we'll stick with that pronoun. I haven't checked. I need to tip her upside down and check if she's got any little balls hanging around, because last time somebody gave us a cat and said, it's a boy. I realised about 6 weeks later when I tipped it upside down, it was a girl. So Leo
And you had to
became
change the name or something. Yeah.
Lucky it was only, we'd called him Leo, the last cat. So I changed his name to Leone and gave him a necklace with pearls, which was just a bracelet on elastic with pearls. So we took photos and announced Leo's coming out as Leone. That was a long time ago.
What about the calf?
Okay, so Cheddar's got eyes like this, and she just huge eyes and a dark. It's funny because she's exactly the same colour as Jazz, who's 8 years old, and we brought Jazz in to meet her, and Jazz is not impressed. Daisy, the other house cat, hisses and growls at her, is very, very upset. But Cheddar's a real sweetheart. So I think Cheddar's almost 8 weeks old, and little fur ball who just sits on my chest and doesn't mind me knitting as long as I don't try to get up or do anything. So I've just spent the last few days with Cheddar. The new cat's arrived and we believe it's a girl, and I need to make a mental note to tip her upside down and have a look.
Has the new cow arrived?
The cow.
Okay.
That's what I want to know about the cow.
So Cheddar turned up on the Friday, I think it was. Cheddar turned up, or Saturday. Yes, Saturday. Yes, Cheddar turned up on Friday. My husband's not talking to any of us about her. He's pissed off because he said no more animals. I think he said no more animals about 3 dogs ago. Anyway.
My daddy used to have a saying about that.
What?
It's better to be pissed off than pissed on.
Yes. Yes. And Cheddar will be in a lot of trouble if she pees on anybody's beds. But Cheddar is very sweet, and she's a good little girl. I mean, the last one we got was Daisy, and Daisy was a feral cat that was at the back of the shop where Millie used to work. And there's all these cats there that nobody has desexed. And she was very feral when she turned up. She was very naughty, biting and scratching and carrying on. Whereas Cheddar is very cuddly, snuggly, has been raised for the last few weeks with a little family of younger kids. So she's very cuddly, and that's very sweet. Okay, are you ready to hear about Bruce?
Yes, we want to hear about Bruce.
Oh, my God, I'm in love with Bruce. He is almost 10 months old, so he's 2 months older than Nip, and he towers over her. He is so tall, and she looks like she's got something wrong with her. She's a midget. Not that there's anything wrong with midgets. I'm saying she is a teeny tiny cow for an Angus. So she's dark, like almost black, but a bit of brown. So she's an Angus cross with something, and no one's owning up, so we don't know. Bruce towers over her.
We got to call Maury Povich here.
Oh, he
I was
is
thinking that.
gorgeous.
The father is.
Bruce, Millie said when she went to pick Bruce up, she was quite alarmed. He was tied to a chain, tied to a tree. He is skinny. He is skinny. So I can see his ribs. He's skinny. He had nothing in his stomach when he turned up. His loins, his whole groin area was sucked in. And he'd shat all over himself in the trailer. He must have sat down in his own poo. But anyway, that's why I wasn't hugging him too much. But I patted him and gave him a hug. He loves carrots. I've got to sit back. I'm so excited. He loves carrots. He's very soft-natured, quiet boy.
Aww.
And he met Nip, who headbutted him a couple of times, and she didn't know who he was or what he was. And then he went for a little gallop. He was like a spring lamb, and off he went, and he was galloping around the paddock. And then she joined him,
Aww.
and they were friends. Within 20 minutes, they were friends.
Aww.
And then they were sleeping together. They lay down in the paddock together, looking at each other.
Aww.
And now he's been up to the shed yard and got some nice fresh green grass, but we don't want him to eat too much too soon, or he might get a tummy ache. and his colouring is gorgeous. Therese, he's a Jersey cow. He's got that pale
Oh,
beige.
I love jerseys.
He's a Jersey. He's a
Oh, they're
Jersey.
so pretty.
He is so pretty for a
I
boy.
love jerseys.
So he's a tall, lanky, skinny teenager looking at the moment. He looks like a 15-year-old who doesn't eat real food, but eats everything out of a pantry. And he is a steer. Now, he has no nuts. So I had a look under there. I had a look. There's nothing hanging, but he needs further investigation in the nether regions because he likes to hump everything. Now, if he didn't have those hormones, we would be thinking he's not humping everything. So it is possible that they might have missed a bit or might have only got one. But no, I'm hoping that they're both gone and there's not one stuck up in the...
Yeah, is he a ridgeling? Yeah.
Midnight is now a 4-H podcast.
Yes, we know all about animal husbandry.
So Nip is just a little fat Angus cow at the moment at 8 months. And here's Bruce, he's a bit of a straggly, because he just needs to be fed up. I think in a couple of months he'll be a big fatty boombar too. But his nature, I mean, the girl that owned him is younger than my girls, but Millie was so, and I said to Millie, look, he probably wasn't living like that. They probably just had him on the chain ready to go, ready for you to come and pick him up. And she said, oh, Mum, I don't think so. And the way he galloped around the paddock, it was like a kid being to the beach for the first time, having sand in their toes. You know, he was just so excited. And he was galloping around like a spring lamb. And he's very happy to have all the grass and to go around. And but it's true. Like, that's just I get such joy out of these little things, Thrift. I really do.
What do the sheep think about him?
Yeah.
What do the sheep think about him?
Okay, Andy the ram, not happy, and he's on the other side of the fence at the moment. He's not happy. He was eyeballing him. He was like, I see you, stranger. Don't take time away from me and Millie. And Rowan wasn't fussed. Rowan, my 3-legged goat, he didn't care. He didn't even come up from the bottom of the paddock. And I had to look for Rowan. That the shrubs in the paddock and the weeds have grown so tall, I could just see Rowan's little head at the top there with his little horns. So Rowan didn't even come up because I was there. I was kind of offended that he didn't come up to talk to me. And no, there's only a couple of sheep in that paddock and they couldn't be fussed. No, they're having a lovely time. The dogs, and the cats came too. I looked behind me and big fat cat Whiskers was in the paddock checking him out. She's such a nosy bugger, she is.
I swear it sounds like Charlotte's Web and all the animals in the fields just coming to...
The first night was hell because the dogs didn't know who he was. And see, the dogs are so good with all the others. And the dogs kept running to that fence line and barking at Bruce. So Bruce got a real welcome. He had a bit of a party that night, the first night.
You think your dogs would be used to... You think your dogs would be used to weird animals showing up all the time.
Yeah, the golden retrievers are okay. But it's just Jack's 2 dogs, the 2 Kelpies were at the fence barking. And Pip can go through that fence. She knows it's not electrified. So the other dogs haven't worked it out that we haven't had the power on it for years. So Pip goes through and Pip's been barking at Bruce, but it'll calm down in a week or so when they realise Bruce lives here and he's not a stranger. Mm-hmm. So yeah, in 2 days we got a new kitten. So now I've got 4 cats and we got a new cow. So now we've got 2 cows, a girl and a boy.
So are you afraid that the other cats are going to teach Cheddar how to kill possums?
No, Cheddar will stay inside with Daisy. Daisy's completely inside cat. And the 2 girls, Jazz and Whiskers, are out in the machinery shed, which is where David is all day, every day, and where my wool room is. Mm-hmm. So we're always up and down there. And actually, Jazz needs a good wash because I've got a chair in my wool room that I would like to sit on, but I've had to put a blanket on it, and she's been sitting on it, and it's just black. It used to be yellow. Now it's just black. So the shed cats have really been roaming around and they get up to some mischief, those 2 girls, for 2 old girls. But mostly they just hang around the shed because that's where somebody is all day, every day. And that's where our shower is. so that we go down there to have our showers and we go and talk to the cats. But both of the cats go and sleep in the wool room. So that's another good reason to have everything in tubs in case someone's allergic to cats. But I've still got these 3 bags of alpaca, garbage bags of alpaca, and 2 bags of merino that I need to store away. I need to move some wool around and get some large tubs to store them in, because they're sitting on top of my blocking table now. And I was so happy to have a clear surface in my wool room.
I'm looking at bags. I was digging in here this week, and I have bags of alpaca and I have bags of wool, and I'm like, I'm going to need to get out the drum carder and combine some of this stuff, you know. So it's on the list of things to do.
Now, see, I'm wondering, as you know, I'm a total complete novice beginner spinner. Every time I talk to somebody here who's spinning or, you know, actively spinning or working, even at the Royal Easter Show, these ladies are telling me they're not washing their wools before they spin, and they're not carding. They're using dog combs. They're just getting the little strands of yarn, and they're just combing it out, and they're spinning it. I mean, are we just lazy here?
No, I mean, I don't know. I think it's lazier to spin in the grease rather than wash it, you know.
They're not washing it. They're taking it straight out of the bags.
I don't know that I would want to spin in the
off.
grease all the time. That it's just that tactile,
Right.
you know. I mean, some of it, some lanolin's okay, but I don't know that I would want all of it. You know, I think I prefer.
I don't spin, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I just feel like we're lazy or we're savages, one of the two, because
Well,
Tomsky's not here.
good thing Tomsky's not here. That's what I was thinking too.
I wonder if it's just all these processes we're too lazy, or because the ladies that I go and talk to who have spun some beautiful yarns for me, they're not washing them until afterwards, and they're not like, I've got the carding brushes, one of which I've broken, the Ashford's carding brushes, and they take a lot of muscle.
They do.
I don't enjoy them. And the ladies are saying to me, just use a dog comb.
Plus, you need a tetanus shot for those, because I don't know, my technique on those, I'm hitting my hand every time with the, yep.
And then there are people who just do it on their lap, put on an old pair of trousers, and just brush it.
You need to get the silicone pot holders that go up your arm.
Yes.
I've got flappy bingo arms or canteen arms. What do you call it? We call it tuck shop arms. So I've got the wings that I can. I'm like one of those night glider possums, you know. I just put my arms out and I can fly.
She's a sugar glider, yeah.
Glider.
Yeah, I'm like a sugar glider. The word.
So I can't do this motion.
It's
We're Mutual of Omaha's Animal Kingdom today.
Right.
I'm wondering how much more spinning how much more involved. I mean, my spinning wheel's sitting right next to my chair at night, and I'm looking at it gathering dust, and I'm putting more project bags on top of it. And I'm thinking, would I get it out if all I had to do was pull out a piece of yarn, a piece of fleece, brush it with the dog comb, and off I go, instead of making roll legs or carding? I wonder. I don't know.
I think it's just different techniques.
Well, I think alpaca, you need to, because alpaca doesn't have lanolin. It has dirt, because they like to take their dirt baths, you know. Yeah. So you don't have to wash alpaca as much. You know, it's going to be dusty. I have a whole bag of alpaca that I washed. But I would prefer to spin alpaca dirty than I would wool. Just because that lanolin, some of that lanolin's just so thick. You know, it's just like, ugh, it's like.
I think some of that dirt would give it more structure too, because it's so light, it would just fly off. If I let go of it, it'd be watching it float away.
Well, that's why I'm gonna card them together, because I don't, as much as I love 100% alpaca yarn, I mean, it's like that's it. That's, you know,
Mhm.
You can't make garments with it because you'll end up with a dress. You make a sweater and you end up with a dress. You know,
Unless you put it with something like the silk.
The
Or
last
so,
time I
yeah.
did something, in 100% alpaca, I
Yeah.
held a strand of merino
Yeah.
lace weight with it, and it did not stretch out too much.
The
Yeah.
only
So
thing
it
I
kind
made,
of the merino actually helped the wool help it keep its shape,
Shame.
Yeah.
and
But
yeah,
But then you run the risk of the stitches of the alpaca growing and the other
Mhm.
stitches not growing. So,
yeah,
you know, you
you
won't have those
do. But
perfect and pink of a stitches.
yeah,
well, none of us are Ann Pinkava with the perfect stitches.
I've done 100% alpaca. I did a shawl. I did a hat. I've done, just not stuff that's going to hang down from your shoulders, stuff that's going to,
Yeah,
stretch.
I've done hats too, but they grow. Wash them and they
Hmm.
just go bowling ball size.
Huh.
Mm.
I would only do the shawls with 100% now, I think,
Yeah.
because then you don't worry if they grow a little longer.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, everyone wants big shawls here now this winter. It's a lot of work.
I got to look into that one you did that was Spring
You guys pick what
Street
you want.
shawl.
Oh yeah, Spring Street.
Huh?
Yeah.
It's a great pattern. Janina Callio from woolenberry.com. She
I
is
got to
my
look at that
favorite designer.
because I still have that cashmere. Oh, look, and it's in a Nana Knits bag.
Yeah.
Oh. This is that cashmere yarn that I got at the thrift store for, I don't know, $2 a
Oh,
ball, and it's $47 a ball. It's
yeah.
this green. It's this green teal color.
Oh, that's
I
nice.
want to do a leaf motif. I have 800 yards. I want to
that's
do a
heaps.
leaf motif shawl with it.
Well, see, the Spring Street, that's the thing about it. It's just this 12-row repeat. And I don't know why it got to me after I did like 18 repeats, which is all you're supposed to do for the pattern. And I've done at least another 10 now, because to sit there the other night and finish it off, I was just like, 12 rows, I'm done. Oh, hang on. It's only 8:30, I'll do another 12 rows. Oh, it's only 9:30, I'll do another 12 rows. Like, I don't know why. It just had bugged me. It was just slow in growing. But then when I finally got to that point where I'd put it down, not looked at it for months and months, picked it up and went, oh my God, this is easy. I had 3/4 of a skein left and I finished it. It was so easy to get through. So I do think it's a really good shawl, the Spring Street. I mean, most of Janina's shawls, I like the fact that it's a triangle, not an asymmetrical triangle. I did frog my Reach for the Stars shawl, the one skein shawl, because that was the 3 Irish Girls yarn that I love. And I was really disappointed in the actual shawl pattern. So I have frogged it, and now that it's been blocked, I'm not sure. Whoops. Here's the beautiful yarn. I frogged that last night. I really want to use this in something that I will wear. And the Reach for the Stars shawl was not it. It was too long on one end, long and skinny, and then all of a sudden it had the little asymmetrical triangle, and then it was finished. So it didn't really work for me. And I blocked the crap out of it to try to give me some length on the end side, and it didn't work. So I would like to, I do.
How much do you have?
That's just the one skein that I
One
use.
skein of fingering?
Yeah, I'm going to make it into something else.
How about that spring thing it's called?
For a shawl, I'm not doing one skein shawls.
Oh, okay.
I'm not. It's getting too cold. I'm probably,
Okay.
I was thinking of just making a pair of mitts, because, I keep telling myself I'm making fingerless mitts, hand warmers.
You've been saying that a while.
I have been. And actually, I didn't bring them. I made Charlie a pair. So I did make her a pair last week. I didn't bring them, sorry. I made her that cabled hat, and I bought 2 balls, 50-gram balls. So I made her the cabled hat, and then with the other 50-gram ball, I made a pair of Pioneer gloves. Who's that pattern by? Everybody knows it. I've got it here, I think. Pioneer gloves. Is that
Oh, I don't know about that.
yeah,
I
I
don't
do.
know
I'll
that
show.
one either.
Oh, you don't know this pattern?
No.
Okay, it's really good because it's a rib and it's really easy, but I just do it on Pioneer Gloves by Kelly McClure. This rib pattern is only on the inside, the way it crosses over there. Oh, there you go. So
Oh.
see how it crosses over here like
Okay.
this?
Uh-huh.
That is only obviously increases in the middle here to pull this side out. On the other side, on the back side, it's all just a 3x2 rib. So
Oh.
is it a free pattern or not? I'm probably giving away
Um,
information. Okay. But I just want to let you know, this picture, that's only the
It's
palm.
free.
It's free. It's free? Oh, there you go. Go
Yeah.
and grab this pattern, girls. On this side, you have the increases on the palm so that you can then have some extra thumb stitches to pick up and do 8 rows. I do 10. But on the other side, it's just 3x2 ribs, straight up and down. So you've got on your back of your hand, you've just got 3x2 rib, and the only fancy bit is these increases on the palm.
What's it called?
Okay, so
Pioneer
it's
gloves.
called Pioneer Gloves by
Here,
Kelly
I'll send
McClure.
you a link.
Go grab it. So I
Okay.
did that in, I mean, that wool was not fingering, but it was so soft and it just shrunk down on little needles. It's definitely a free pattern before I give information away. I already have.
I believe it says it is.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you can make
pattern.
it. Okay, you can make it that size. The cuff is just a cast on and off you go, so it rolls a little bit, or you can make it with a longer cuff. So I just used a 50-gram ball and it made this easy peasy, made these Pioneer gloves.
Did you use DPNs?
Yeah, I'm a DPN girl, so I actually use DPNs, and I was thinking that this yarn, because I've already stretched it by blocking the crap out of it, it would be a good idea to make something in a rib to sort of keep its shape a little bit better. So I'm thinking of doing these. I think the pattern calls for 2.75 millimeter needles, and I might go down to 2.5 just
Yeah, it
because
says
I've already
2.75. Yeah.
because I've already stretched the crap out of the yarn and I would like them to fit me. I'm thinking of making maybe the medium size or the smaller size in 2.5 millimeter needles. So I was thinking of that for that yarn. Yeah, I think it would look good in that yarn. And just because I'm recycling the yarn from another project, I think mittens would probably be the best.
Yeah.
So there you go. Maybe I'll cast them on tonight and you'll see mittens next week. Great pattern, easy peasy, nothing difficult. And the way I like to do it is it actually suggests how many rounds. So instead of measuring and thinking, oh God, is this long enough? Whatever. And depending on your gauge swatch, if you ever do one, you don't need to for these. I think it tells you approximately, 8 rounds, approximately 5 rounds, approximately 20. So when I make them, I go with numbers I can remember. And do you know what I mean? Like it says, the beginning is just cast on and knit 5 rounds. So that's what I did. But then it says approximately 8 rounds. So I did 10. And then it's saying approximately whatever rounds.
Well, with ribbing, you have some leeway because it'll stretch.
Well, yeah, and if your row gauge is off, you can always add more rounds.
Yeah. So where it says, do so many rounds, I just go, approximately 20 rounds for the short ones. So I did 30. It's just things like that I can remember from one to the other when I put them down. It's a good, so I'm full of free patterns today. Pioneer Gloves by Kelly McClure for little hand warmers. I think they're great. And you can make the fingers longer. That's why I did, sorry, where is it? I think the fingers were a little bit short, so I did another, couple of rounds here at the top, 10 rounds. And same with the thumb. I think it was 8 rows. I did 10. Yeah, so that's a good pattern. So I've given you a free sock pattern and a free glove pattern today. A shawl recommendation, Spring Street Shawl by woolenberry.com. You can make it as large or as small as you want. Keep going till you run out of wool. That's kind of nice. And the Musselburgh hat, I would rather do in just a tiny bit less soft yarn. What else is happening, girls?
Not much. Just my kids are graduating college, so they're finishing that up. My daughter finished. My son has a couple more weeks before graduation.
So what's your daughter going to do now? Is she completely finished studying?
She's got her master's in business, so she's looking for a job in the business field.
Okay, so no more university studies, is that right? Are we
No,
completely
she's not going to get a PhD.
okay?
That's not her. So she's done. And then my
Okay.
son is getting bachelor's in political science. And
Yep.
so he won't go back probably unless he gets a job where they want him to have more advanced. And then
More
he'll-
qualifications.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow.
they'll be done.
So now she's going to be applying for positions.
Yeah.
And does the university help you? Do they put out
Hers does.
any?
Hers
Yeah.
does. They have a mentorship program, and a lot of those people hire from the graduates of the university, and then they have connections in different states where they have mentorships where they can, get connections. So that's something she's working on, talking to people. So so they'll both be done first week of May, and it's so nice because we're done, and we're on their, adulthood. School's done, so they can focus on being adults and see how that goes.
And
My son moved out, and
I was going to say, how's your son going out in the big world on his own with his friends? How's he going?
He's doing okay. He's doing okay. Yeah. He's realizing having to plan meals every night is not the easiest. And they take turns. They take turns. Oh yeah, there's been some nights that were that. Some nights that were, eggs, grilled cheese. Yeah. But he's doing good. It's just he called me Saturday. He was running errands because it's grocery shopping. Right? I'm like, well, that's what life is, sweetie. You're an adult now. So I mean, he did a lot of his own things when he lived at home, but he didn't, plan the meals and all that stuff. So it's been good for him. I think he's enjoying it. He's realizing, how easy he had it before. So that's good. But they live in a fairly safe neighborhood, so I don't worry about him. It's gated, so I don't know if you can really. They have an actual person in the gate, a little gatehouse. But when we went to visit, they just pushed us through without even asking who we were going to see. So I don't know how real safe it is, but
I like that.
I think it's more a deterrent than anything else.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
I guess maybe they write down your license. Maybe they're writing down your license plate numbers and things like that anyway. So maybe it is a secondary check or something.
Yeah, I don't know. He said they haven't had any crime in the area. They checked it before they rented it, so they're at least smart enough to do that. So, and they're not far from one of his roommate's parents.
Yeah.
His friend's mom has brought them meat. Like she came over one time with chicken and beef and ribs, all this stuff for their freezer, and they're very grateful. They're very grateful because food's expensive.
Mm.
But yeah, he was just like,
gosh,
he'll call me for recipes, or he'll call me when he called me the other night and was going to put something in the crock pot, and it was too late because he had a school thing. And he's like, well, I don't know what to do with it now. It's too late. It's a pork loin. I'm like, well, just cut it into pork chops, throw it in a marinade for a couple hours, and throw them on the grill.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I never thought of that. I'm like, yeah, sweetie, it's okay. There's, you don't have to cook something that one way. If your plan's not working out, adapt.
Yep.
So I don't do grocery shopping, right? I'm not buying food anymore. I'm just living on thin air. And I remembered to keep this in my car the other day. I think Ames was talking about the cost of food. Porterhouse steak. This was Easter specials, $24. $24 a kilo for a steak in the supermarket. And then I was looking at things like, this is what I do like, butter. I don't like the plastic shit. $6 on sale for a little tub of butter.
No, that's Australian though, so I don't know what the conversion is, but yeah.
This is the sale prices. This is the Easter special to get everyone to buy food. Sugar, $2. Oh, that's caster sugar for cooking. I don't even look at these anymore. I used to study these, of course, to do my meal plans and work out what I was going to buy. Not anymore. A cucumber, $1.50 each. I just, not anymore. Tomatoes have gone through the roof. Please grow your own tomatoes. Grow your own tomatoes. They've gone through the roof here. They're so expensive.
Well, I think I saw a TikTok or something, somebody was on the news where an apple was like $7 in San Francisco.
Yes.
Yeah, I just looked at
I remember
$3. Apples have been $4 and $5 a kilo here.
No, this is for one apple.
One apple. Yeah.
This is for one apple.
Yeah.
I remember my parents, when I was first year of college, they went on a trip to Korea and Japan. My dad had a business trip, and my mom was appalled because one apple was $14.
Mm-hmm.
But you figure it's an island, everything's imported.
They don't get right.
So I can see why it's so much more where Joe is, because they import a lot of their produce and stuff probably.
Yeah.
Well, it's like when we lived in Miami, Amanda was, how old was she? She was 9, I think. So she was still drinking milk. And the cost of milk was outrageous because all the cattle are up North Florida and they have to ship it down to Miami. So it costs money. And that was back in the late 90s. Nowadays, who knows?
The things that have really hit hardest for us at home have been the pet food, which has gone up astronomically. Pet food has gone up to ridiculous prices. The milk has gone up. Cheese is more expensive than milk. Just really simple things that we like. Breakfast cereal. I could eat breakfast. I love my breakfast cereal. And, it's gone up to $7 for a box this size. And I'm talking just a box probably that size, regular, not a jumbo box, just a regular box of cereal is about $7 now. That's because I do look and think, oh, there's a healthy version of this and it's $6. That's a special price. Everything else is $7 and $7.50, $8 for cereal boxes now. Meat, I just don't buy anymore. David loves his steak. David and Jack love their steak, but I don't buy it anymore. I'm the mum who buys the laundry powder, the toilet paper. Laundry powder's not too bad. Toilet paper's not too bad at the moment. You can buy a 30-pack for $15 of toilet paper. You look at it, go 50 cents a roll. Okay. Laundry powder is about, depends on what size you get. Family of 5, I get, a couple of kilo box, and they're about anywhere on sale from $15 up. So just the little things that I buy, soap, shampoos. Shampoos are expensive. I need to learn how to make it myself. And I really want to make soap myself. I love when I find all these beautiful soaps that people have handmade. They're just gorgeous. But no, steak, dog food, cheese, milk, all the just sort of essential things for a family with animals. Forget about it.
That was late 90s. I'm not there anymore.
Yeah. No, unfortunately, she's in the far north.
Yeah, I went to the extreme.
She's in South Canada right now.
South Canada. Canada light, yeah.
On the border.
Yeah, literally on the border. It's right there. It's crazy.
Laundry powder, 2 kilos, $16 on sale. That's on sale for a little box of laundry powder.
It's crazy. We try to go. I go grocery shopping maybe like every 10 days, 2 weeks, and every time I go, everything's more expensive. Yeah. Every time. Last time we went was, when was it? Thursday, last Tuesday, I think.
Yeah.
And the store now, it's a big store. It's not like a little tiny, it's a big store. Meijer.
It's not a food mart.
They had no chicken. No chicken.
None at all.
Yeah, my store went through a period where there was no chicken.
Well, this was last week. Yeah.
Isn't that because all your chook farms and your egg farms got burnt up over the last couple of years?
Who knows? I'm convinced they're trying to starve us to death. And I said to the lady at the checkout, she's like, oh, did you find anything? I was like, yeah, but your chicken, And she's like, oh, everybody must have bought it. I'm like,
Wow.
No, honey, no. Your
No
your
surprise.
flyer just started, and it wasn't just chicken on sale. It was all of the chicken. I'm like, no, you guys didn't get it.
Yeah.
Nobody bought all of the chicken.
Wow. Wow.
We went through a
Yes.
period where
I don't
we
go
went
to the
through a
big
period where steak was less expensive than chicken
Mm-hmm.
last year.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Mm-hmm.
like, well, if that's the case, I'll buy steak, but
Oh yeah.
you know, but it's crazy.
It's hard. I don't know how people with a bunch of kids do it. I don't know, because I mean, it's just us, and it's outrageous.
Yeah.
That was the nice thing. My young men, teenage and early 20s men eat a lot. So my
Mm-hmm.
son moving out helped my grocery budget.
Oh yeah.
So I've also, I mean, I've been talking to you girls about the last couple of years how ridiculous the real estate prices are, and nothing to rent around here for people moving up. A lot of people moved up from Sydney during the lockdown periods because we were one of the last areas to get locked down. So there's not much real estate up here for sale, and certainly nothing to rent. But now I'm seeing on the news in the major capital cities like Brisbane and Sydney, people have set up tent cities. It's kind of looking like your LA, California. People cannot get rental properties, can't afford them anyway. And I'm watching these people setting up tent homes, and I mean, they're stealing other people's pot plants and setting up tarps, canvas tarps and plastic tarpaulins, and they're making their homes in other people's car parks, in business car parks. And in Brisbane, in the actual park, in the middle of the city, tent city, they've just set up all their tents. People can't move them on. The police aren't moving them on. There's nowhere for them to go. So we are really having troubled times financially at the moment here in Australia. And it just seems to be we're just a little bit behind you guys, 6 months to 12 months behind you guys.
Yeah, it's not good. The interest rates, people can't buy houses. Then they're saying, oh, well, go ahead and, sell your house and buy another one. Well, you want to trade, you have a 3% mortgage. Now you're going to trade it for an 8 or 9% for a lesser house that costs more? No, why would you do that?
My son was even showing me last night to start, all the small, so in our town also, 2 years ago, real estate was prime for commercial. Any little shop, we're only on one street, no traffic lights, no roundabouts. It's just a drive in and drive out little town. And in that one street, a lot of it is owned by one person who's sue me now, a crotchety old senile demented dickhead. But anyway, besides that, there are other smaller buildings that happen to be owned by lovelier people. And to get real estate, to have a little shop, have your own little business was so tough. People were knocking on doors, leaving messages in these empty rental spaces, trying desperately to, offer their firstborn child and half a kidney just to rent these spaces. Out of nowhere, 2 years later, there are empty shops and no one wants to lease them. No one can afford it. No one can come up with a bond, which is 4 weeks rent. Then you pay your 2 weeks rent in advance or a month in advance. So pretty much you've got to pay 2 months in advance straight up front. Out of nowhere, I'm watching this shop, and I watched a lovely lady who's been there for years. She moved out, and I thought, oh, that'll be snapped up by somebody with a little business idea. Still empty months and months later. Another shop is being emptied. The pizza shop's closing. I heard that the butcher shop's closing. So all of a sudden in the last 2 years, things have got so bad with our economy that these places that people were desperately fighting over and trying to get in and get an edge on their neighbour to get this shop, nobody can do it right now.
My town is like that. My adjacent town. There's so many empty shops, and then the Rite Aid, they went out of business, so that's an empty spot. And there's different stores went out, and it's all just emptiness, and people can't afford
They
You know,
can't afford to take it over.
they
People
can't
are
afford to
not
start
willing-
up a business, or they can't afford the lease, you know.
Yeah. So my son was showing me last night the little little registers and POS, you know, point of sale softwares and hardware, like your little square. I've got a little square that I use. So there are these little mini registers with a keyboard and point of sales, and they used to be hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and I couldn't afford to get anything like that for my little market stall. $100 and something now. Like these other, so the flow-on effect is these businesses who supply little small businesses with hardware or with, you know, paper bags, packaging, labeling, all of that sort of thing, they are going out of business. They are desperate to have your business now. So a lot of prices are going right down. And I was really interested because I was looking at the square thinking, oh, should I get one that pops out a receipt? Should I get one on a tablet so I can actually read it better? No, I just got a little square and hook my phone up to it for the markets. But I haven't done it for 2 years. And in the 2 years, so much has changed. It's pretty incredible watching after everyone said the economy would come back and, you know, people were desperately looking for workers. 2 years on, that's not the case. People can't afford anybody to work in their small business. They're running it themselves. They can't afford to do salaries, wages, taxes, and they can't afford all the gear. So I'm just watching a couple of businesses that have been really vital. One, the first one was like the giftware and women's clothing. So she closed down and she's just gone fully online. And now the pizza shop, they just moved out, and we have loved those pizzas for the last couple of years. Then the rumour mill said the butcher shop, which is our only butcher shop, is closing. I haven't confirmed that, but, you know, I got it from a great source who's another business owner, and she said, yeah, they're closing, never to be reopened. No, and vintage second-hand store, apparently her rent has been doubled and she can't afford it. She's closing after 12 months. So it's getting very interesting.
We had one of those antique malls, you know, where people rent out spots and then they sell all their stuff and it's on consignment. And just like a couple, I don't know, maybe a month or two ago, they were like, nope, we're done. And they gave people like very little notice. So I don't know if they had something bad happen or, you know. So now that's going to be empty. You know, it's just one more thing.
So for people visiting our town, which is pretty much the only way we get any sort of income in this town, these little shops that are gift shops or secondhand stores, you know, curiosity shops are not going to be open. Right. So when you come to town, instead of thinking, oh, you know, you go and grab me a coffee and I'll go and have a look in this shop, it's like, is there anything open? The wool shop's always open on weekends. Nothing else open. And people stop me and say, oh, is there anything open? Or what time? Like last weekend, the lady looking for a pair of pants. Is there anything open? I'm like, come to the back of my mobile office. I'll give you a pair of clean pants. There's nothing for you to stop and look at, except if you want to grab a coffee and use someone's toilet. These little towns are going to die.
They are.
So are you not getting any of the tourists that you used to get? Because you used to get a lot of tourists passing through.
Oh, yeah, we were nominated last year for a tourism town for the state. Yeah, we were one of the last, we were in the last top 8 or 5 for, I think it was the top 5 or 3 for tourism towns last year. But that's what I'm saying, in the last 12 months, businesses are really doing it tough because people like me are like, oh, no, I'm not going to go to the butcher and get a kilo of mince and some chicken rissoles and some pork ribs and a couple of steaks. No, because the cost is exorbitant and we couldn't afford to do that. Not going into the gift shop to, you know, buy whoever a birthday gift and mail it off to them because, A, the postage costs too much. And you think a phone call will do. It's a thought that counts. So, no, these shops are closing. And the pizza shop, we love the pizza place. And to get just an adult, just to get they only have one size, large, to get a pizza is anywhere from $20, $22 for a cheap garlic pizza to $25 or $26 for a supreme everything, the works burger with olives or anchovies. Family of 5, it's over $100 for everyone to get a pizza, and then I always eat the leftovers. Nobody wants to share at my place, so I eat half a pizza and then eat the next half the next day. That's over $100 to grab dinner. Nobody wants to do that. Not certainly not once a week or once a fortnight. It might be a once a month treat when everybody's starving and nobody's hungry enough to actually cook. To get Chinese. When I took Millie away for her uni, I went and got Chinese takeout, and all we got was 2 honey chickens, so 2 rectangle little containers of honey chicken and a large boiled plain rice, and it was $47. $47.50, $48.
Yep.
To feed 2 of us. I'm like, no, it's
but
really,
the thing is,
really
their cost, the cost of doing business for them has gone up, and so they have to, and I don't know what, like my town, it's a tourist town. It's right on a lake / river, and so everybody's boating, everybody's doing all the things. Well, we have a state park. It's quite large, and it also has a shooting range, and it has maybe an archery. It has other amenities, but it's right on the river, right across the road from the river. A ton of hookups for RVs and tents and whatever. Well, they're closed for the entire year to do maintenance.
Oh, maintenance. That's fair enough. They're investing money in something for later.
Okay. They talk about how mild our winter was because of climate change and all this. Why weren't you doing any of this stuff from the day it closed, which was October, until now? You could have been doing So this entire year, this place is closed. That thing is packed all summer long. So that's going to affect all of the businesses in town where the people go.
Yeah.
And that's a state thing.
Oh, I didn't realize they had the whole winter. They could have done all of those maintenance.
The whole winter they could have done stuff. And they said, well, we're still waiting on bids. We're still doing this. We're still, you know what?
It's bad planning.
Tinfoil hat, but the state, the state's not real friendly with some of these smaller towns.
Yeah. They don't want you to enjoy your summer. They want you all locked up.
Especially smaller towns that don't align politically with the leadership.
Okay. Can I just say, you just reminded me, and I can't believe I completely forgot this morning. You were just talking about shooting ranges. What the heck? Bag a day crochet. What the heck?
Oh, it was awful. I was watching.
Tell me everything. Tell us everything, Therese.
Well, she's been on for probably 10 years. Her goal was to get 1 million YouTube subscribers, and she got it like a month ago.
The lovely
Crystal, who does so much. She has 1,300, at least 1,300 free tutorials. They're free.
Yep.
She also does auctions for the police department in her town, gives them a check. She does auctions. She auctions off blankets. People make blankets, give them to her. She auctions them off for hundreds of dollars and gives the money to the local animal shelter. Beautiful lady. She does. I mean, everything is free. She doesn't ask for anything. So she had
no controversy. She doesn't have a mean bone in her body. She's always positive and lovely. And I wish she was left-handed so I could learn to crochet.
I watched her for years, and she's just amazing. So Saturday night, she had her 1 millionth subscriber extravaganza giveaway. Her husband was there. Her little girl was there. She's 8 years old. She's adorable. Looks just like her. They were wearing all the gold for the, they were having a blast, giving away yarn, just, and some jealous, nasty person swatted her. So the cops show up. Several cops show up, guns drawn. She has 5 kids. Her youngest is 8. The dogs are out there. She has a bunch of dogs because she lives, rural, and she can have, swatted her. So she had to go And then she did a little video afterwards apologizing because she dropped an F-bomb when the cops showed up, which you only drop one?
Yeah.
Amateur.
Swatting
During
is going to get somebody
1
killed.
million
Somebody's gonna get
subscriber
killed. Yeah.
celebration.
And anyone who swats somebody should be in jail. I'm
Well,
sorry,
it's illegal.
but
Yeah.
it is illegal. But I mean, they don't always find them to prosecute
Yeah.
and can be able to prosecute them. But it should be a jail. You know what I mean? Instant jail.
Well,
because
she thinks she knows who it is. But then there's, because she came out and she said, I know who you are. I know who did this. He did that, So people took that to mean that it was other male content crochet people. So they started unfollowing them. It's like, no, stop it. Just stop. Why are you punishing other people? Because people hear rumors and they, the internet sucks. So yeah, the cops, luckily she knows the cops in her town. So it could have been horribly wrong, but yeah, it's just a bad thing. Now she doesn't, she's like, I'll be back, but it'll be next month because she's going to take some time, which,
can't
it's
blame
just
her.
awful. It's awful.
I was showing my husband not all of, but some of her tutorials. Some of them are 8 minutes. Some of them are 2 hours. She shows you how to make a product from the beginning, from the yarn selection to the end of the product. She's not asking you for any money. All you're doing is watching her YouTube. She is the most, and there are patterns for everybody from babies to toddlers to men's, her husband's modeling some. And she's always in a new hat. She tells you how she's modified it. She on her podcast, if you're in the chat and you ask her what that is, she'll tell you where to find it.
She's amazing.
Well, there's probably somebody who was jealous.
These patterns and she doesn't. And she has 10 years legacy on YouTube for some asshole to send the police over to swat
She
her.
said that this guy is like tries to be her. He takes her content. I don't know anything about that. I don't know, but people.
If she was a left-handed crocheter, I would be a crochet professional.
You can flip your screen,
My
Joe.
brain just doesn't compute it from that hand
Joe
to
Bob.
this hand, I'm afraid.
Joe Bob, you can
Indiana.
flip
She lives in
the
Indiana.
view. You can mirror your view when you watch a video.
What? No way.
Joe's life just changed. You saw it here, people.
I can
I
flip
think
the
so.
hand to
I
the
think
other
so.
way.
Well, I
On
think you
YouTube.
can flip I think so.
That's all I
Or
need to do. I need to see it how I do it, and I'll be good to go. Watch out, Amy. Oh, you're kidding me. I did not know. I don't know.
I think you can on YouTube.
She's coming
No
over to
way.
the hooker side.
Oh,
It uses more
we're not
yarn.
supposed to
It
say
uses
that.
more yarn.
I don't
We're not
care.
supposed to say that anymore.
I say what I want.
I'm only on my phone, so I don't know how to do shit. As you can tell, because I wasn't here on time again today.
These two are fighting.
Really?
Don't use the term hooker. Remember, we're not supposed to use that anymore.
I don't care. I will say
that
whatever I
why-
want. Hooker.
Is that why the girls that flock around the table, those flockers, is that why they keep thinking they're on the wrong side of the room or something when they're looking at their screen? They're flipped around the other way?
I don't know. I haven't been watching them because
I'm going to send you.
I do. I
have
watch them.
issues.
I'm gonna-
It's so funny.
I'm going to send you instructions, Joe.
Send me destructions and I will destroy my phone
Instructions.
trying to work it out. I would love to
Destructions.
crochet.
That's a new word.
I'm telling you, I have the crochet hook collection. And even a couple of years ago, hubby bought me that set in a box.
I remember.
With the beautiful handmade
unite.
handles. And I don't, you know what I use my crochet hooks for? Picking up stitches.
Picking up
that I draw.
stitches. Yeah.
That's what I use it for. So I'm always getting the tiny ones out. There's always a tiny crochet hook in my project bags to pick up bloody drop stitches.
I'm
or if
going
I
to
see
stick Alyssa on you.
Joe,
Make
I
you do
would
it.
love,
Joe,
I would love to know how to crochet.
Joe, you have so
Joe.
much yarn, and you can crochet faster than knitting, which means you can make
Yes.
lots of blankets and things.
That's what I'm
and use up a
doing.
bunch of your yarn.
I was
You can
watching.
crochet a chicken.
Yeah,
Yeah, your two chickens. I'm glad you showed me. I didn't realize that I'd missed all that at the beginning of the podcast. So I'm really glad you showed me at the end of the podcast.
those were
I
cute.
was watching Neil
Mhm.
James, literally
Mhm.
Nittler, doing the crochet race. What was it? What were they doing? Just a regular single stitch or something? I don't know. They were doing something
Single crochet, I think.
single
I think.
crochet. And I'm watching him thinking, dude, I don't crochet and I'm faster than you. So just saying, in the crochet with a crochet hook,
Make,
and I
make,
can do
make a
foundation.
note,
I can
Ann
do single
Pinkava.
stitch.
In a couple
Yeah.
months, when you have Joe back on, she's going to take the crochet challenge.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll probably be faster than my knitting. So I can do the double crochet and the treble crochet, regardless of which country we're talking or what continents we're talking about. I can do single, double, and I can do the back post. I watched a YouTube tutorial
Mhm.
on slow mo for about 5 times and did a back post square. But I'm not a crocheter, no. So when I see patterns, I think, oh bugger, I want
We'll
to do
make you one
aragorumi.
now.
I want to do aragorumi. To watch her often.
Yeah.
She's kind and a sweet soul. Oh, Cat, she
Oh,
is.
and Crochet Crowd has
Crochet.
back in right-handed tutorials.
There's a bunch of them that
tutorials.
do. Juan,
Crochet
Juan
Crowd.
the
I've never
yarn
heard of
addict,
that.
he's left-handed, and so he does stuff left-handed.
Crochet Crowd.
Oh, speaking of male crocheters, did you watch the second video of that YouTuber?
Yes.
Is it good? Because I only watched the first one
Fabio.
without the Fabio.
Fabio, yes, I've watched
Yes,
all of them.
I think he filmed the second one without his shirt on. It was like a
Yeah, but then
pre-tutorial
he got
video.
over that, and he
First
said,
one.
I'm wearing a shirt, and I'm done with that." So
Yeah, how many views did he get? Millions for just
yes,
having no
pretty
shirt
much.
on?
Yeah.
Hang on a minute, then I'll sacrifice it for the girls. Hang on, I'll get my
God.
shirt off. Give me a break. Give me a break. But I would truly like to learn how to do something other than granny squares, yes, please, or corner to corner. I saw that Crystal had a corner to corner, but it was in a rectangle from the center
Mhm.
out.
Mhm.
I'm like, what the
Yep,
things
I
like
do
that? I
corner
would
to
love
corner.
to make.
I like quarter
I've
to
done
corner.
corner to corner.
do
I've
too,
done
but they're
back
so
posts,
heavy.
I've done
Ugh.
granny squares. I want to learn how to actually make something, and I do have my friendship blanket to put together, which I still don't know how to do that yet.
Like my sweater that I made last week.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, how's your t-shirt going? Did you show that before I got
She
here?
showed it, yeah, but she can show it again.
Sorry,
'cause
I
it's
missed
really
it.
neat.
I was
I
having.
gotta find the other.
It's not my
Hang on,
phone. It's
here we go.
actually StreamYard wants me to
Ah.
allow, the audio in the camera. And for some reason, Google's not doing it. So I have to go out of Google, go into DuckDuckGo, like Neil advised me 2 months ago, which has worked fabulously. So that's why. It's just my operator error trying to get in on Google. I thought knit knot
Stop
was
it.
safer for my toddler.
Stop
Teresa,
it.
look at Joe Bob taking off the shirt. Danielle. I love kids, Danielle. I love little kids. You're very lucky to have a toddler. Aren't they special? That's the
I won't
best
say
time.
the H word anymore. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We try to be good, but and sometimes
I
our
remember
guests.
the first time Jack said the F-bomb when he was little and he stubbed his toe outside and he looked at me and said the F-bomb and I was horrified. Horrified. He wasn't a toddler. He was an infant and still I was horrified. At least he knew the context. No. Oh, you're so lucky. I miss having my little kids. I was so lucky to have 3 under 3, 3 under 2 actually when the girls were born. Yeah.
That's
I
insane.
miss that. I miss
A lot of
those little
work.
toddlers. And when we see naughty kids screaming and screeching, my kids look at me and go, well, was I like that? And I'm like, no,
Nope.
you were not.
My
You
kids
were
used
not
amazing,
allowed.
such joy.
my kids and their friends used to play the silent game, and because they were super competitive,
Yeah.
it could last a long time. Like basically, you sit them up, and whoever is quietest the longest wins.
Oh, I
And
can't.
when you get a couple competitive kids,
Mm-hmm.
it can
Wow.
go. And my
Really?
husband and I were running errands one day, and we had taken the kids with us to the phone store, and
Yeah.
there was this other group of kids, and they were just yelling and screaming. And my kids had been playing the silent game in the car and just continued it, and they just sat there not making a sound the whole time we were in there. And it freaked out the person at the phone store because he thought we'd done something to them to make them quiet. And we're like, no, they're just competitive.
Benadryl.
And these other kids are running around screaming, and my kids are just sitting there staring at each other, trying to make each other talk with their eyes.
I love
You
when
know.
mine all spoke at the same time. They'd all be just talking to me, and people around me be like, "Oh my God, how do you do it?" And they're like little baby birds in a nest, all chirping at the same time. It just used to bring me so much joy. So much joy. Their little inquiring minds and all the little adventures we went on, and I miss all those exciting days. Now, when you say to them, "Oh, you're amazing, that's fantastic," they're like, "Calm down, Mum. Calm down, Mum."
Bruh.
I miss those days with their little beaming smiles when you told them how amazing and how clever they are, and tell me more about that and show me more. And is that picture really Joe Bob with 3 eyes? Wow, that's so great. And they're like, calm down, Mum. Just calm down. Calm your farm. They're not interested in enthusiasm anymore. I love that.
No, they just want you to give them money and leave them be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Exactly. Where's your purse?
No.
Yeah. Got any money,
Well,
Mum?
but
Where's
they'll
your
get
purse?
out of that too.
Where's the
They'll grow
food?
out of that.
Oh, I know. That was a short phase for them,
Yeah.
and it was more one child than the other. But
I do envy anyone with little kids. I miss those times. You're so lucky. Congratulations, and you're so lucky. And I hope you feel lots of sparks of joy with all the adventures you go on together.
because they grow up too fast.
Oh yeah.
I even remember silly things like sitting here in the mobile office, not in this one, but a bigger one I used to have, and looking back, and Charlie's reading a little book up the right way and Millie's reading hers upside down. You know, just great memories. How cute was that? And still to this day, she does not like to read. But she pretends to read. She doesn't read shit. She hates books.
Mine don't
That is
either.
so your girls, though. I can see Charlie sitting so prim and proper reading the book, and Millie just hanging out with the book upside down.
Yeah.
It's funny to look back. Yeah, Millie was quite a chubber, because Millie was 6'8" born. Charlotte was only 4'11" born. So Charlotte was just a little petite, sweet, quiet, off with the fairies, and she would quietly be reading a book the right way and looking at the pictures. This is when they were just toddlers, looking at the pictures. And then Millie's like the one with a glass of wine and a fag hanging out her mouth, and the book's rested on a big belly. You know, Millie, no, not impressing you. Don't give a shit. Here's my book. I've got it. You told me to look at it. It's upside down. Upside down. Yeah.
You mean cigarette, right?
Is that what I said?
No.
You
Oh,
said
okay,
another word
yeah.
for cigarette.
Oh, did I say fag?
Yes, you did
Did
again.
I say fag? A fag hanging? Did I say fag hanging out of her mouth?
But I'm
Yeah.
getting yelled at for saying hooker. What the?
A smoke, a cigarette, a fag is what we call them here. Got any fags? Yes. Can I bum a fag off you? Yes. See, that sounds even worse. But lucky Pirate's not here, so we don't need to worry about it.
Oh, he would just call you a criminal, and then that would be it, you know.
Oh, and even
He'd call you a crim, you'd call him a palm, and that would be
you
it.
know what? One of the favourite photos of me as a little one, and this is why I just love these old memories.
It's better about me with a cigarette.
No, black and white photo of me in a little pair of shorts and a shirt in Singapore. So I was probably 2 years old, and I'm walking around, and I've got our ginger cat, Kitten, in my hand like this. Here's its head, and I've got another neck, and I'm carrying the cat around like this with its legs dangling. And of course, my parents weren't saving that poor kitten because I was loving on it. They took photos of me, and I'm carrying the kitten around by its throat. And this is a kitten that I used to put my dolly clothes on. I used to get my little dolly clothes that Nan knitted and put them on the cat, the kitten. That kitten put up with everything, absolutely everything, and was probably really glad when we moved back to Australia. But that's my favourite photo. Like that was, my parents thought that was so funny. Here I am strangling the kitten. I was loving it hard. So little kids are the best. Even old little kids' memories are really fun. Really
Sound
fun.
like the guy from of Mice and
Of
Men.
Mice and Men. I was
Yeah.
thinking of that and the Bugs Bunny.
Yes.
Love him and squeeze
I
him
love
and
him and squeeze him.
Treasure all those moments. That makes a good
George.
memory.
George. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Now you couldn't
Yeah.
make that anymore because somebody'd get offended.
I'm sure.
It probably would be against mental health or something. I don't know. But
okay. So I
yeah,
have to remember to
kid-
look up Crochet Crowd. I have so many crochet hooks. So
There's
I've
a
got the
bunch.
big, fat, chunky ones. I've got the little skinny ones. I've got the little ones that you put glass beads on to do lace and beadwork.
Mhm.
Oh, I've been collecting them for no reason because I feel really inadequate as a left-handed person not being able to learn it. I can't learn it.
My
Telling
dad
you,
was
you
left-handed.
can do it.
I learned how to crochet from my grandmother and my dad because she made her sons learn. And my dad was left-handed. So I basically learned from two left-handed people.
Oh, there you go.
And I'm not left-handed. So if I can learn from left-handers, you can learn from.
It's not that hard. It's really not.
I can't do it opposite. I need to. That's how I learned to knit. I know Nan tried to teach me opposite. It's really hard for me. But so I knit right-handed because I had to sit next to Nan and learn how to do it. But she used to crochet, and she never taught me to crochet because I just can't do it with my right hand.
I don't know what it is. I'm like on such a crochet kick right now. It's just, to me, it's more relaxing, I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Well, we go through spells when you want to change. I mean,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I started knitting because I crocheted for my whole life, and I
Mhm.
crocheted pretty much everything you could crochet, and I wanted, to do something different. But now I like to go back and crochet because
It's
I
so
think
much
it's a break
different
from it.
now than it was.
Yeah,
You
I
know.
know. I have an idea for a
So
pattern,
many
but
clever patterns.
I just haven't done it yet.
So many patterns I see in books, and I think, oh, I want to make that. And then when I go to the instructions, it's crochet, and I don't even look. I'm like,
Oh, you can do
Well,
it.
beyond
There's
me.
so many
I don't even
patterns
try.
I see on Pinterest where they're like crochet that looks like knit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like if I
Oh.
wanted to make it look like, but if I want it to look like knit stitch, I'm gonna knit it because crocheted knit stitch is really dense.
It's very
and
dense.
heavy.
I did a washcloth yesterday because I wanted to try that knit. I was like obsessed. I need to make it waistcoat stitch, it's called, or the knit stitch.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to make a sweater in that because I can do it faster than I can do knitting.
Then you can do knitting.
No,
Yeah.
no, because where you have to put your hook is very tight and it's very slow. Now, if you do
That
it
would
on
drive
a
me
bigger gauge, it might go quicker. But for a regular,
Doesn't
back to the
sound
drawing board.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Okay. Well, I mean,
there's a lot of good patterns.
A lot. Mm-hmm.
I would love to knit cardigans and sweaters knit crochet. I would like to learn how to crochet so I could whip up.
That one
Even
I
a nice
did went so fast.
Yeah,
I know
have
there's
a
little rules and things though, like at the end of a row when you're turning around, like what's your first stitch back? And I would love to just make a rectangular blanket out of scrappy wool, but I'm not confident enough to give it a go because I'm not sure what the rules are when you get to the end of that row and how you turn around and where you start the next row, so I don't lose stitches or have too many stitches. And
there's so many YouTube. Yeah, so many.
Yeah, telling you where to start.
Yep.
I mean, honestly though, after you've done it a bit, it's automatic. You don't even think about it anymore. You know where to put your hook. It's the same with your knitting. You know where to put your hook. You know where to put your knitting needle from practice. It just becomes muscle memory.
That's what I was thinking last night. I was thinking, what's the difference between a beginner knit and an advanced beginner or an intermediate knit. And the shawl I was looking at, I was wondering, well, you know, I think it's easy, but here's the thing. I think the difference between a beginner and a knitter is reading your own work, seeing that you can see if you've made a mistake and you know how to go back and fix it. And I think once you can do that, where you've dropped stitches, twisted a stitch, or you're doing lace work and your repeat sections don't add up because you've done a yarn over or you missed it on the way back and, you know, the stitch marker moved, so you've missed a yarn over, put in the wrong spot. I think little things like that, that's when you graduate from being a beginner knitter. And I was really giving it a lot of thought last night. Why am I such a good knitter? Not because I do technical knitting at all, but because I can read a pattern. I know if the pattern's wrong. Like you said, you're counting numbers, you're doing the math, and guess what? The pattern's an error. And or if you make your own mistakes in lace work, that you can read it, you can stretch out your knitting after a few rows and go, hang on, that's not crossing over, that's not lining up, there's no decrease here. That's what graduates you from a beginner to an intermediate or an advanced beginner knitter, when you can find your own mistakes and try to fix them, or at least find them and frog it back and start again. That's when you can pick up something and work out what roll you're on.
Yeah, there's sometimes with knitting where you can't really fix it without frogging, because
you have to
it's
frog.
just the tension. It'll screw up the tension of it if you just try to fix it, even if you know how to fix it.
Especially with a split stitch or a decrease.
So,
an increase.
but at least being able to read it, like,
you can fudge, but decreases, you end up with a bit of extra yarn and the whole thing looks off, no matter how much you get that crochet hook out and pull your stitches around. Yeah. So I was really giving that a thought last night. What do I consider a beginning knit? Because, okay, let's talk about murder knits, shall we? Yeah, we shall. Tabitha, hi Tabs, love you. I don't like that pattern. I don't like that pattern.
Really? I didn't know that, Joe.
I don't like that pattern. It bores me to tears. I need some interest. I could make it up myself as I go along, but I'm a lazy knitter. And I was really enthused by a little mumbling by my dear friend Annie, who knits the most gorgeous knits. Look at her jumpers.
Look how she draws Annie into this.
I'm drawing Annie into it because I admire her knitting. And she has, if you look at A Stitch in the Sky knitting podcast, she has on her own work, and there's beautiful colour work and there's beautiful cables and texture, and I don't often do that kind of knitting. So I really enjoy looking at her knitting. She motivates me. She's only tiny, mind you. She doesn't have to knit a big, large jumper like I do. So I look at her knitting, and when she had a couple of very polite mumbles, she's almost Canadian, I tell you. She's so polite and kind. When she did that for a whole 2.5 seconds, I went, fucking yeah. Oh, sorry. I went, heck yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
It is good for TV watching, though, Joe.
Like, yeah, it is. Or if you're...
I don't want to be thinking,
fine.
what side am I on? Am I really knitting this dead plain shawl?
They have this thing called a stitch marker that you can put on.
Well, okay. Wait a minute. You say it's boring because it's the same thing over and over, but a muscle burra is the same thing. You're knitting the same thing.
You can put a stitch marker so you know which side is your right side or wrong side, or beginning of a new section. There is something, I think, because I've knit so many thousands of shawls, there is just something about that shawl that kills me. I'm brain dead and I don't like it and I don't enjoy it and I'm not going to wear it, so why bother? And then there's something about picking up a shawl. Okay, I'm going to show you. I wasn't going to show you, but I will now because you forced me to show you what I mean. There's something, when you get something like this, and you're watching a lace pattern grow and grow, it's just something so much fun. Tiny little section, tiny little section of lace. This is not hard.
What is that? Oh, that's your secret project?
Teaser, and with the alpaca.
But we do love that, Joe.
That tiny little section was so much fun. And that's why I was wondering, what does it mean? Can a beginner do this? Well, no, because if you make a mistake as a beginner, you're going to be so frustrated. You're not going to know where the problem is. You're going to have an extra stitch or one less, and your pattern doesn't look right, and you just can't deal with it. It's so overwhelming. But you know what? For me, because it's knit and purl and knit togethers and a yarn over, it's
Yarn
so
over.
simple. And it's
Us-
repetitive. They're only 10
Right.
stitch repeats. So it's so easy. And all of a sudden you've got it in your mind and you're going, oh, yes, knit two together, purl over, yes, whatever. And
But
it's so
Joe,
easy.
But
can
Joe,
a
there's also
beginner-
a time and place. There's a time and place for a murder knit shawl where you're somewhere where you're mentally checked out and you don't want to mentally focus, but you need your fingers moving. And for a lot of people who knitting is a therapy, who have ADHD or other reasons where they need to keep their hands moving, something like a murder knit shawl is perfect because they don't have to think about it, but they can knit it.
And
And
that's where I
some
think
people-
I'm even lazier.
Yeah.
You've got to get to the end. You've got to do something at either end, or you can just knit round and round and round and round, and you're not doing anything. And I have the same issue with people knitting socks. They put a stitch marker in, but they keep so many stitches on each needle when using DPNs or magic loop. They keep that stitch marker at the beginning of the round. I don't. This could be. Where's this? Here,
I don't
this
want
is my
magic
beginning
loop.
of the round. I put 2 on to show a beginning of the round. And when I knit socks with DPNs, I go past that. And I just keep going round and I keep moving my stitches around and round, doing an extra 2 or 3 on
Yeah.
each needle so that I don't have any laddering in my
On
stitches.
magic loop, I don't use the beginning of round because on magic loop you can see where
You
your
can see where
original
your
end
start
is.
is.
So
Yeah.
you know where your start is, so you always know where the beginning of round is. I
So
only do
for
it
me-
when I'm using on circulars.
For me, it's like the reason why I don't really enjoy knitting shawls, scarves anymore, crossways, widthways, because you got to go turn it around, go turn it around, go turn around. There's no interest in knitting I would rather knit a ribbed 2x2 scarf than a plain scarf or a scarf with texture patterns in it, because I'm just going knit, purl, whatever, or knit, purl. And doing thousands of stitches without thinking about it. And that's why the muscle bra is so good. I don't have to get to the end of the row, flip it around. I don't have to worry, am I decreasing here or increasing here? It's just the laziest thing in the world is to knit round and round. And so this tube could have been a neck warmer or, you know, it could have been a pair of socks. Anything that's a tube that you're just going round and round and round, I'm all for it. As mindless knitting, this is the easiest mindless knitting that I can think of. And then, you know, if you don't want to do the crown, if I didn't have my DPNs here and I was ready to do the crown, it's so easy to set it aside and pick it up when you're ready to watch a bit of telly or sit quietly for half an hour to get it cracking along. So that shawl drives me absolutely effing batty, because you got to remember to increase on one side and decrease on the other. And then what side am I on? And then, you know, am I going in a stitch and then decreasing, or am I increasing right at the beginning? It is dead boring, batshit boring. I'd rather be sticking a fork in my eyes kind of knitting for me. And it just doesn't grow fast enough for me to be interested in it. And when it's finished, it's dead plain. And then Amy shows you the one with the eyelets, and then you did one with different colours and patterns, textures. And I think I could not be bothered. I really couldn't be bothered.
And that's
I don't,
you
even
know.
out of spite, I don't believe I'd ever be bothered making that shawl. It's just not a pattern for me. If I was 20 or 30
That's
years
fine.
ago, I might have been thrilled with myself. But right now, I'd rather be making that lacy number over there, because the way it grows and the design it makes gives me that little spark of joy to go to the next section.
That's what works for you. I like it because
And
it's
I'm
a
not
quick,
a technically
to me,
great
it's a
knitter.
quick knit, and it's a great gift knit. When you want to make something for somebody, you don't want to make them a hat, you don't want to make a full-on shawl. A murder knit shawl is a nice alternative. You put some time and effort into it. They like it, and then, you know, it's a good gift knit.
I get it, though. I mean, sometimes you want,
Yeah. No, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No. What I am wondering is, where are all the great scarf patterns? I haven't seen, and it's probably just me, but I have had a little dig down on Rav and looked at what's hot. I'm not seeing any amazing just scarf patterns lately. Mostly,
I think people are more towards cows because cows are easier to wear.
Cows, I
You know,
love
you don't
cows,
have-
and I tell people that, you know, you don't have the bits flapping around on the ground, or you
Exactly.
don't lose your cow.
Especially
they
with
keep-
kids.
Plus,
I
they're
find,
quicker. A shawl is
you know,
just a slag.
when my kids were younger and it was easier to keep, you know, them wrapped up or whatever, a cow's easier because you can put it
Yeah.
on them and they're not going to drag a scarf behind and get it caught on the metal of the jungle gym
Yeah.
and then rip the scarf, you know. They're going to stay on where you put it.
Scarves take so long. You know,
They
That's what I
do.
mean. You're going side, if you're going
takes so
widthways.
long.
Yeah, and I mean there are cabled Aran scarves, and they're cute, but I
Mhm.
think it's really limited to what you can do with a regular scarf, aren't you? Different
I mean, I think
texture
there's-
patterns.
I would make is in a bulky weight. I've got alpaca in a bulky weight, you know, and
Mhm.
so that goes quick. It's like a 2x2 rib, and it's long. And then the one I called a Muppet scarf in that crazy yarn. Again,
yeah,
2x2 rib, but it, you know, and it's long,
I like
but it's
2x2
bulky weight,
rib.
so it doesn't take as long as a worsted weight,
Joe-
cabled.
Yeah, Joe needs to use her art yarn and make a scarf. You should make a scarf
Mhm.
out of your art yarn.
Oh yeah,
Mold
I
it
would
with
do
some
it,
other
but I would
stuff,
do it
yeah.
lengthways. I would do it like I do my mixed media scarves. I would grab the big old chunky needles and put it,
Mhm.
squish as many stitches onto those as I can, and
Mhm.
do it lengthways. So you can have
Yeah.
that long, and it stretches out then even longer once you take it off the needles. If you're doing garter stitch,
Oh yeah,
it's
yeah.
gonna stretch- it's going to stretch lengthways, and you can see all the curves of the art yarn. So that's a good idea. But I often think it's really shitty when someone's learning how to knit that you sit them down and give them 20 stitches or 30 stitches on an average.
If they make
please
a
don't
scarf,
bamboo needles
Yeah.
and make a scarf. No
I
wonder
never
people
tell
make
anybody
up knitting.
to do
I've
a
never
scarf.
told anybody to make a, even
Nope.
teaching somebody crochet, I never told them to make a scarf.
Nope.
What do you make as a first crochet project then? What would I be better off making to keep my interest?
Dishcloths are great because they're a good way to learn the stitches and practice your edges.
Right.
Hats,
Washcloth.
I
probably do.
I don't make the hats, and I don't crochet hats in the round. I crochet ribbing flat, and then I just seam up one side and cinch the top, and then you don't
Okay.
have where the you don't have where your round is.
Decreases,
There's
yeah.
a lot of I made so many fingerless gloves. One year at school, my friend
Oh,
was a
that's so
crocheter,
neat.
and she made hats, and I made fingerless gloves for like half the teachers in the school.
Mhm.
So
We would go
fingerless
to
gloves
Michael.
in
Yeah.
crochet are warm, are they? Are they elastic? Like, will my fat hand fit in and feel snug, or does the crochet can crochet
It
be
depends on how
elastic?
you do. It can if you did a ribbing,
Ribbing.
if you knit
Yeah.
with crochet ribbing.
You can crochet a
Front
ribbing.
post, back post.
Yep.
Really?
Or back post. Yeah. Mhm.
Mhm.
I didn't know that. So
Mhm.
I should be crocheting mitts so I can do them quickly.
Yeah.
Mm.
As long as they're sort of elastic that I can slip my hand in and feel snug. It has to be it has to be snug for me to want to wear them because, I hate the frost and I just want to have my fingers free so I can text you madly and say, it's effing cold here right now. Feel sorry for me. No, it's not snowing. I'll shut up now. I want to text to you in the mornings.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got
Danielle
to
said
watch
she
this
just taught a
into
colleague to crochet.
Mm.
octopus. Should crochet. Oh, see, aragurumi is
Yeah. Yeah.
my goal. Wow. I've got a little grand niece called Octavia. I want to make her an octopus, little Ockie, my niece's daughter. Okay, so I
I need
need
a
to
bunch.
investigate this crochet business and stop. I think tutorials are probably the best way because when I look in magazines and books, I get so upset.
Wow.
Little toys I'd love to make, and I just flick the page and keep going. I don't even read the
YouTube.
pattern because there's no point.
YouTube.
I think crochet is really good for shaping because
Yeah.
knitting is all linear, and I mean, you can do short rows, but crochet, if you're trying to make an odd shaped object, it's a lot easier to do in crochet
Mhm.
because you can free form it and you can freehand it, and
Yeah.
it's way more versatile for things like that, for toys and things, I believe. Because,
Yep.
I
I agree.
And so, is it easy for crocheters to see their mistakes? Is it
Yeah.
easy for you to read your crochet when it's flat
Yes.
there in front of you?
yeah.
And it's
Okay.
easy to rip back. Just boom, boom, boom. You're
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the one
Less
thing I
painful
hate
to
is
rip back.
all the tutorials where people do tutorials of different crochet stitches with
Mm.
different names, and they're stitches that have been around forever. It's like, oh, now this is the wisteria stitch, and I'm looking at it like that's
No,
not
no,
the
no.
wisteria stitch. It's like they all have to have their own tutorials and rename a bunch of stitches. It's like
Yeah,
they've been out
that's
there
kind of
forever.
annoying.
That's annoying because it's like,
It
no,
is.
you look at it and and like, oh, that's not a new stitch. That's this stitch, or that's this bobble, or that's this puff
Yeah.
stitch, you know. But and there's a lot of different stitches in crochet that you can make with the basic stitches. Like you get your
Yes.
double crochet, your triple crochet, you can turn those into cluster stitches and all sorts of stitches.
Well, and I also learned from Fabio. That sweater I did was in half double crochet. Well, then he does his sweaters with an extended half double crochet. So I learned that. So
I think I learned the extended one time. I would have to re-watch it to
you
put it back in my
you
brain
just
again. But
do one extra little thing. Yeah.
but
It
I
seems
think
to me there are
crochet.
a lot more male crocheters than knitters too. Is that true?
I don't
I
know.
think seems to be a lot more online, maybe
Maybe
where you
yeah.
can
Yeah.
support, you know.
YouTube.
But I think a lot of men who were working from home learned
Yep.
during COVID. I think a
Yes.
lot of them are.
Okay.
I mean, not all of them. Clearly, some have been doing them for years and years and years.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of them that have learned in the last few years,
Mm-hmm.
and some should not be, you know, putting patterns out until they learn how to, you know, weave in their ends and things. But
And you can take crochet hooks on airlines too instead of worrying about your little sharp pointy needles, I was thinking. On the airplanes, no problems.
You
Crochet
can.
hooks aren't going to stab somebody, right? So they're really portable.
Well, depends on how pointy it is.
Yeah.
Oh, true. True.
I never had crochet hooks confiscated. I did have scissors confiscated once because they were too long.
Do
And,
people do beadwork
but
with their crochet blankets and things like that? Do people do? Do you see
I've done
much
beads.
beadwork?
I've
'Cause I
done
think that
beads.
would be pretty in a shawl or
You do
a
beads,
wrap.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've done beads, and I've done where you crochet the button on instead of sewing a button on later. You
Oh.
you crochet it on.
Okay.
Um,
Cool. All right. Well, maybe I could be more positive about crochet and my ability if I can find a tutorial that's left-handed. I don't want to just do granny squares because I still don't know how to put them together. But I'd love to make a blanket.
There's a bunch of left-handed.
A rug.
There's a bunch of YouTubers that will show a tutorial. They'll show it right-handed and left-handed. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool, you know.
yeah,
Okay.
This
Okay. Well,
is
that's
the-
positive. Well, I hope everything goes well for Crystal, and I'm sure
Yeah.
the police are going to investigate the SWAT allegations, the violence or whatever allegations. But I was really
This
shocked,
pattern.
thinking, you know, it's not Tim Pool, it's not Tim
That's-
Pool's compound,
What's
and
that?
here
the
we are.
pattern. It's owls across the yoke, and you use a crochet hook to crochet the buttons on for the eyes.
Oh wow,
It's
that's cute.
simple, cute little cardie. Doesn't take long to make. It's pretty much double crochet and post stitches, and not that many.
Ooh, what's it called?
Um,
Gotta write it down.
It's a hoot. It's a hoot.
It's a hoot.
Of course.
I'll send you a link to find it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's
I'm
got
looking
the
for-
cardigan. She's got a little bag. I think she's got slippers, and she might have fingerless
Nice.
mitts too. I made it
Yeah, 'cause-
years and years ago.
When I get this one done, I'm gonna need something else to do because I'm in avoidance of that other thing.
Hmm.
Yeah,
When I cast on 4 times and ripped out 4 times, yeah.
yeah.
Fingering weight yarn, not fun.
I think the change of season sometimes affects her knitting and crocheting too, because
Yeah.
like there's times when I just can't on some project that I was working on 2 weeks ago, and it's just
Yeah.
you look at it and you're like, no, it's
Yeah.
too hot out today, or it's just no. So it's
Yeah.
good to have multiple projects. I never was I was crocheter. I was always a monogamous crocheter. Whatever project I worked on, unless I had to do a gift in between.
Oh,
I put something, but it wasn't until I started knitting that I learned how
Yeah,
to
you know what? I think that's
just be
true because
crotchet sewing at the same time.
I try to be monogamous with crochet. I
Mm.
think because it goes quicker. You know, I mean, it can take months to do a sweater. Knit.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Remember when I was
Depending
young,
on
my mum used to make like big hooded jackets with the toggle buttons and everything. She used to crochet, but right-handed, so nobody could teach me. My brain wouldn't work that way.
go
I
on
learned from my
YouTube.
grandma and my dad. I
They'll
don't
tell
remember
you.
how, but they taught me. My grandmother taught me how to hand sew and how to crochet.
Mhm.
And she would make my dog clothes for me. She taught me how to hand make Barbie clothes. And she would make me
Aw.
matching dresses to my Barbie because I was her favorite. And I know that because she would tell me. But I was a middle child, so having at least one adult who I was the favorite child mattered.
That's cool.
And I was the first granddaughter, so that made, she wanted somebody she could pass all this
Yeah.
stuff on to. Because my brother and my
Oh.
cousin were not interested
Well,
whatsoever.
Yeah.
But
Want to give
my
a
dad
shout
and
out?
uncles learned how to
Sorry,
crochet and sew. My dad and uncles, she taught them how to crochet and sew when they were growing up. So
Really?
they could use a sewing machine. They could make their own clothes if they had to. And my dad, he remembered the crochet. I don't know if my uncles ever bothered to keep up with it, but when
Yeah.
she was teaching me, we went home from her house and he took the yarn and the hook. And the next thing I know, he's making granny squares and all these, weird shaped granny squares. And just, because he was an engineer, so, couldn't just make square ones. He had to make all the hexagonal and stuff. And he helped me
There's
left-handed. So
so many beautiful blankets out there. That's what I'm
Oh,
thinking.
yeah.
I'd really like to make Charlie a blanket. And I do have some sparkle green, brown, variegated color yarn or stripy yarn that I've never used. I think it's stripes. I'd love to do her a blanket. A crochet would be great if I could work it
Well,
out
okay,
faster.
just to let you know, crochet takes a lot more
A
yarn
lot of
than
yarn.
knitting.
Oh, no, that's what I'm saying. I have like balls of
Okay.
this stuff.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
it's a yarn
you'd be
sucker. Yep.
surprised how much more it takes to crochet a sweater than it does to knit a sweater.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now
So-
that I've decided to become a yarn snob, I really do want to knit up my acrylics and acrylic blends and get rid of them. Well, now that I want to curate my yarn stash with a little bit more finesse. So I would like to, I could knit a big, huge circular. Oh, what was that one that, what's the one called that Tara did? And
Oh,
the big round one. I should do
yeah,
that
it's,
one in knitting. Is it a
no,
tree,
I can't think.
tree rings or something?
Yeah, the tree rings.
Is that what
Yeah.
it's
The tree
called?
rings. Something tree rings, I think, or growth rings or something like that. I forget what it's
Yeah.
called.
So I could do that until I just run out of yarn. And see,
Yeah.
here I am thinking, because I can knit, that would be easier. But gosh, it would take me a long, long time. Whereas if I crocheted it, if I knew how to crochet, it would take me so much less time. Because I am
It does.
fast at crocheting. I just don't know what I'm doing, but I'm fast at it.
Well, that's half the battle, Joe.
yeah.
Okay. But see, I'm lazy now. I'm thinking, oh, that's a good way out. If I got the growth rings or the tree rings, whatever it was
Growth
called.
rings, I think it is.
Okay.
Something like that.
That's just knitting round and round, so you can keep going till you run out of yarn.
I think Tara's is like 6 or 7 skeins. I think
Yeah.
when she
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know if Tabitha's was that big.
And see, with crochet, you haven't got all that weight on the actual needle, whereas
No.
with knitting, you've got a
Yeah, see,
couple of circular needles and you've got all that weight on
Yeah,
them.
everything else is crochet. The weight is on you, which is great when you're cold, when you're living in cold
Yeah.
climate and you're crocheting blankets because it
Oh,
keeps
yeah.
you warm.
Yeah.
If you're crocheting a blanket on your lap, it just keeps you warm.
Last night I had Cheddar on my neck. She's just decided to sit there with her butt under my chin, so she kept me nice and warm, but I've still got, I think, Jack's lurgy. And then I could always knit like this, because as soon as you turn it around, you see, I've got to, okay, I'm going to look up that crochet crowd that somebody recommended.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. Just type in left-handed crochet.
Yeah.
Boom.
But I don't want to just learn a stitch. I want to learn how to make something.
Well, Yeah.
the rules, how to go one way and turn around, or
Yeah.
go around and round, what the rules are for doing a circular thing, so I can
Well, see, in
make something
crochet,
that's growing.
if you're not knitting a spiral, you have to increase at the beginning of every row. Whereas knitting, it's just, you can just continue along. But some crochet patterns, you have to actually increase a stitch at the beginning of the row to keep the height up, because crochet stitches are taller.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you have
Yeah,
to make, otherwise, depending on the pattern, you might have to, it just depends on what you're doing.
You'll get it. It's
Yeah.
no big deal. Yeah, it's
Okay.
easy.
Big deal.
It's
All
just
right, we
the
probably should head out.
Yeah, I got a ball game to watch pretty soon.
I gotta eat. Jo has to knit on her Musselburgh so that she doesn't get bored and decide to cast on a murder knit shawl.
Yeah.
No, it's not going to happen. So I've only done a little bit today. Only done a little bit.
Looks good.
Well,
Thank you.
You made that gorgeous shawl, and you should be proud of yourself because it's lovely. And the lady who gets it should appreciate it. And if she doesn't, that's on her, not on you. Okay.
Oh, I can't wait.
You
to
made
just
it way
unfold
bigger.
it. It'll be a relief for me to just hand it over, and hopefully she'll love it and wear it. And I don't know what her problem is, but it's not my problem.
Nope.
Yeah, exactly. And if she doesn't wear it, that's not on you, because
No. I just offered to make it. She asked, and I said absolutely. I do feel bad that I didn't make it instantly in that month, but it takes some time to knit that shawl.
Yeah.
So,
well, she's a knitter, right? Didn't you say she's a knitter? So she should understand.
Well, then she can make it herself.
No, it's all good. I'm trying to be positive, and I put love into every stitch, and I wanted to make it larger and make it so that she would enjoy wearing it, not just as a token. Here you go, I made the pattern. No, so I made it a bit larger, and I'm sure she'll like it. Be nice if she smiled at me when I give it to her. That's all I need, instead of frowning at me.
No.
Either that, or every time she wears it, you should yell across the street at her, "I see you wearing the shawl I made."
Not sure. I would really laugh if I see it on somebody else. If she gifted it to somebody else, that would crack me up. That's okay.
Oh wow, good for you, Knit and Caboodles, because I haven't started mine yet. She just picked up her She picked her La Karen up. I'm like, good for her, because I haven't started mine yet.
Look.
I'm going to join you soon. I promise. I'm going to knit it. It's lovely. It is a lovely vest.
No, it's a lovely pattern.
Beautiful. It's just.
I didn't have the
had all the rules with it.
Yeah.
No, the sizing. So that'll be interesting. But it may not be just the sizing. It may be my colour work is too loose. It may be my colour work is too many wines and too relaxed, cheese and crackers. So I'm going to cast that on. I just haven't not chosen the other colours yet. So I am going to cast that on in the chocolate. I love that chocolate brown colour.
That'll look cool.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate you spending your time with us. If you have any questions, let us know. Thank you. And also for all the people who've been commenting on the videos, thank you.
Yes.
We really appreciate it. It reading those comments make us really happy.
Oh, yeah, it's fun.
It is. It's nice to interact. And
do all those things, all the things you're supposed to do, share and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And go watch our friends. Go watch
all our friends.
Knitters and Annie at Stitch in the Sky and Tara, Yarn Chicken and Shit, and all the others. Even Blocks Magazine, when he does a video. Watch him too.
Morgan.
I know,
Yeah,
Morgan. We need Morgan back. Maybe she'll get a new schedule and she'll be able to be more convenient for her to be on.
Yeah.
But thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.